An unsettling mystery which takes us to the streets of a city in India where a man is searching for his missing family. Scenes from a Crime by John Dryden.
Yes?
Excuse me, hi, I'm so sorry to bother you.
Yeah?
I think I live here.
Excuse me?
I think this is my house. This is my wife. And my child. I can't find them.
I'm sorry, I don't know them.
No, look. I think it might have been taken in this flat.
Who is it?
Please, I need your help. Thank you.
Yes. What is that?
No, he says he's...
Do you recognize them? Do you recognize me?
No, I'm sorry. We just moved in here, so we don't know.
When?
just about 3 months back.
Yeah.
Yeah, my firm transferred me. We're new in the city, actually.
So we don't. Maybe you can ask the neighbors or something.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Thank you so much.
I'm so sorry.
Just get
I'm
the
so
dog.
sorry.
No
I could have
problem,
sworn
no
that this was my...
It's all right.
Hey, this fan... This fan, it makes a strange sound, right?
Yeah, that's actually one of the things we've been asking the landlord to
Yeah.
mend. You know how it is with landlords. They...
Are you okay? Can we get you something?
Please, I'm so sorry. Could I trouble you for a glass of water?
Yeah, pani on.
No.
Are you okay?
Yes. Yes, I'm sorry. Hey, the view. I've always loved the view from here.
Yeah, it's could you excuse me for just a minute?
Sure.
How does he know about the fan and all?
तो राहत होता ही थे. He's looking for his
I'm
wife.
finding it very creepy. त्याला तू जायला सांग प्लीज. मला खूप भीती वाटते. तू त्या लँडलॉर्डला फोन कर, वॉचमॅनला फोन कर आणि पण त्याला सांग जायला.
ठीक आहे.
आता आम्ही काही त्याची मदत नाही करू शकतो.
ठीक आहे. मी
Just send him
Okay. Excuse me, sir. I'm really sorry, but I must ask you to leave. Please.
Okay. Siddharth?
What the hell are you doing here?
I'm sorry, Siddharth? I'm Siddharth?
What's wrong with you, man?
Nothing. How are you?
Good. Look, it's not good to be standing out here. Why don't you come? Come on. You've caused everyone a lot of trouble, huh? Is it all sorted now?
Yeah. Don't worry. I mean, it's all sorted. It's all going to be sorted. I took some time off.
Some time off? Oh, great. Yeah, you've lost weight. Look, I'll make you tea. Lots of sugar, I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Sure.
Cigarette?
Huh?
What, you quit or what?
No. I mean, yes. Yeah, I quit.
Oh. I'd like to quit. But just can't seem to. getting harder and harder to smoke these days, but still, I manage somehow.
Harder? What do you mean?
Restaurants, people's homes. No one lets you smoke. But not here. Not in my place. Are you sure?
Yes, thank you.
I'll just go make the tea. Huh? You want the TV? Here. Yeah, watch some TV. No, I don't think he suspects anything. Yes. But quickly. I don't know how long I can keep him here. Just a minute. My friend, I'm just about to... Siddharth? Siddharth! Tea is ready, yeah? Come back!
सिक्सर क्या दिक्कत थी तेरा बैटिंग ही चल रहा है कब से चिटिंग करता है
रे संभल के प्ले केयरफुली What? Why are you looking at me like that?
You don't remember me?
What? What are you talking about?
You don't know who I am?
No. Go away.
You used to give me money. पैसा देते थे. दो ना पैसा. Give me some money.
अरे मेरे पास कुछ नहीं है. बस जाना वापस खेलो ना दोस्तों के साथ. चल.
अच्छा cigarette. You have cigarette?
Cigarette? You're too young to smoke.
अरे सब पीते हैं. Everybody smokes.
अरे just leave me alone ना.
Yeah, I know you smoke.
अरे एक मिनट.
ए बॉस पुश मत करो यार.
हाँ बाबा टिकट.
Next stop.
टिकट दे टिकट पर.
How much? कितना?
7 रुपए 7 rupees.
I don't have any money.
No money, no ticket, boss. Come on. उतरो इधर से चलो.
Hey, mister, you'll have to walk. Where are you going?
I don't know. I don't know.
Are you okay?
I don't know who I am. I don't know where I am.
Wait, I'll get you something, okay? Wait. Hey, auntie. Chai dena. Here.
You bought this for me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, what do you remember?
I think I've lost my family. I think it's my family.
Nice family. Very pretty wife.
If I could only find them. But that's all I've got.
10 years ago.
What?
Look, the calendar on the back says 2005. That's 10 years ago. What's that then?
Yes. A gown. A hospital gown. I woke up in the hospital.
Hey, this is like a mystery. Didn't anyone speak to you at the hospital?
I just sort of got up and left. I was tired of lying there, so I just got up and left.
But can't you remember anything else? You must remember something, no?
No. It's like I'm a passenger in my own life and someone else is driving. I know some things, but I don't know how I know them. I do some things, but I don't know how I'm doing them. I went to the colony. How did I know to go to the 7th floor? How did I know to go to flat 709? I smoke, apparently. I don't remember smoking.
Look, why don't we play this game? It'll help you remember things. We used to play it in school.
School? You went to school?
Used to when my parents were around.
Oh, what happened?
They're not around now.
So you've lost people too, huh?
Okay, this is how we play the game. Does that bike remind you of something?
No.
What about the teacup?
No.
What about that poster with that pretty girl on it? That must remind you of something.
Yeah, I know that girl.
Arey, everybody knows that she's Kareena Kapoor.
No, not her. I know that girl over there. I know her. I've lost her.
Down here, come.
There, how do you know?
I know what she is. I know where she works. See? She works here.
Here?
It's a whorehouse. I do jobs for these women. They send me out to get something, I go and get it.
You know, you don't sound much like a street kid.
What does a street kid have to sound like, huh? You don't know anything about my life.
Yeah. You wait here. Hey, excuse me.
Hey, you again. What do you want?
I need to talk to you.
You need to talk to me. After last time. What do you want?
Look at this. I need to find them.
Who are they?
My family.
You have wife and child. You didn't tell me that. क्या हुआ? भाग गए? They've run away now. And what are you going to say to me? Oh, my wife doesn't understand me. बिस्तर में देती नहीं है तेरी जरूरत.
Please. How do I know you?
How do I? Why have you come back?
Just tell me. How do I know you?
Look, I'm professional, okay? If you want my time, you give me money.
I don't have any money.
Acha? So last time you had lots of money?
What?
In that bag. I see me. Yes. Holding it and protecting it like it's your baby. You don't think I didn't notice, huh? मेरी नजर तेज है.
There's nothing here. Just a hospital gown.
Not in the bag. Bag underneath the bag. Bag के नीचे दे. So it's all gone. You must have spent it on one of your other bitches, Sala.
What happened when I came here?
When you came here? You came here a lot. But you never hit me before. That was the first time.
I'm sorry.
What happened to you, huh?
I don't know.
Abe, you really don't remember?
No.
That day, you were completely wild. And you tried to force me to, But तुझसे हुआ ही नहीं. You weren't capable. Drunk, I suppose. And then you hit me. And then you grabbed this bag of yours and just jumped into your car and ran away. Without paying me also.
When was this?
ऐसे कोई 3 or 4 months ago.
Is there anything else that you can tell me?
There was some blood on your shirt.
What?
Blood. Hey. Are you okay?
Neeta.
Acha. You remember my name, huh? Acha.
Neeta.
So what did you find out?
She saw me once before on the street. I was a little bit upset. I think I'd been in a fight or something.
That's all.
Yeah.
You're not telling me everything, huh?
Yeah, you're right. I'm not telling you everything because there are some things a child should be protected from.
Excuse me. You don't know what I've seen. Don't talk to me like that.
What are you doing here on the street?
My parents went away.
What do you mean, went away?
I don't know. I came home from a school trip and they weren't there anymore. There was nothing there. New people were moving into our flat. They said, "Hey, bacha, get lost." So here I am.
No relatives? No aunt, no uncle, no...
Just us. And now there's no one. They're all gone.
Yeah. I know what that's like. Everything has been taken away from me. There's nothing left. Just a hole, and I have to fill it. How do you make a living?
I do things for people. I do jobs. Hey, are you hungry?
Yeah, a little bit.
Come, I'll get you some food.
It's good. I'm more confused than when I started. I really don't know where to go now.
Why don't you go and ask the police to help you? I'm sure they can help you.
I don't know who wants to get involved with the police. And I just keep thinking about my wife and child. I think they might be dead.
Why?
I have a memory of something. A memory I have no memory of.
Come. This is where I sleep.
Here?
Yeah. But you have to be very careful. People will just come and steal the shirt off your back.
Why are you helping me?
When you find your life again, you're going to be generous to me, na? Maybe you're a millionaire. You could be anyone. Anyone in the whole world. Maybe there's a reward for returning you. Maybe you're one of those contestants on the TV and they're filming everything. And if I do the right thing, I will win a prize. Maybe you're an angel come to test me and I'll get my reward in the next life. We don't know what comes to us. But my parents always taught me to help those that need help. Hey. Stop. We don't know what comes to us.
What happened? What are you doing?
You were crying in your sleep.
I was?
Did you have a bad dream?
I was being chased. There was something behind me. But I couldn't look back.
Why?
It was... I couldn't face it. But I couldn't let it catch me either.
What do you remember?
Huh?
What can you remember? Think about it, anything.
Something terrible happened.
You don't want to remember that, huh?
No. It's not that. I'm no longer what I was. The thing that happened to me, there is no return from. I lost something. Someone. My wife. My family. Who was I? Was I someone important? Did I have something they wanted? I remember water. Drowning. Someone screaming for help.
That's good. You're remembering. Can you see where they are? In the sea? A river?
No.
A lake?
A bath.
A bath?
It was a bath.
See, it's coming back to you. Was it a man or a woman?
I don't know. I think it was me. I can't go back to what I was. I can't be the same person. I've lost myself.
What about the hospital? What was the last thing you remember there?
I remember waking up. There were things sticking into me. I pulled them out. I got up. I found some clothes. I got dressed and I jumped out of the window. I remember that.
And then?
And then I walked. I went to the colony, to flat 709. I knew I had to go to flat 709.
Why? Think. You must know what made you go there.
No.
Who was there? Who were you looking for?
I don't know.
Hey.
Huh?
Boy. I'm sleeping here, okay?
She's not sleeping here. Tell her to get lost.
But why? She has a baby. Let her sleep.
She's a thief.
Shh. She has a baby. Madam, you please, yes, you sleep here. I'll look after you and your baby.
Sure.
You're a kind man, sir. I can see it in your eyes, huh? Kind man. Not all men are kind, huh? I'm going to kill him.
What?
When I find him, I'm going to kill him. Who? My husband. I'm looking for him.
See, everyone's looking for somebody.
He just drove off, in the car. Just drove off. Left me with no money, baby, nothing. To chase his horse. Just got in the car and went.
Wait a minute.
What?
She mentioned a car.
Who?
The girl. The prostitute. She said, I drove off in my car. So I must have had a car. Maybe she saw the car. Maybe she knows something about it. Maybe if I knew what kind of car I drove. Madam, you sleep here. Chalo.
Thank you, Sachin. Thank you.
You wait here, okay?
No, last time I was waiting. I'm coming. She must be on the street picking up clients.
Do you have anything sharp? What about that safety pin holding up your trousers?
Acha, so you remember how to pick a lock?
Neeta.
You remember her name also?
She told me it.
So this is what men pay for?
Huh?
Why?
Why what?
With the lights on, the walls are so dirty.
Arey, they're not paying for the room. They're paying for... Well, for... Never mind.
They have wives waiting at home, so why do they pay? My father used to visit these.
How do you know?
My mother, she told me. She used to sit on my bed and wait for him to return.
Just wait here. Neeta? Neeta? Neeta, it's me. Neeta? Oh, God. Let's go.
But what happened?
Just turn around. Let's go.
She's dead, isn't she?
Yes.
But
quickly, this way. I think someone must have followed me to her room.
Why?
I don't know. But someone was watching her. Waiting.
Waiting for you? Why?
Looking for the money.
What money?
Look, I didn't tell you everything before. When I came to her the first time, she said that I had a bag with a lot of money. This bag. See this false bottom? Apparently, it was full of money.
Where did you get it from?
I don't know.
And what did you do with it?
I don't know.
Yes?
I need to talk to you.
What about?
Look, I know we got off to a bad start before, but I really just need to know who I am and what's going on.
I've called the police.
What? What?
They're on their way.
But why? Why would you... Look, I just want to know who I am.
You're Siddharth, that's all.
Yes, but who am I?
You're the rent collector.
So I'm the rent collector. Huh. At least we know that much. Well, that's all we know.
Hey, that man said something about the police. Now why he said?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because I'm the rent collector, I had the money. Then I didn't have the money, so maybe the money was stolen. Maybe I was mugged. That's why the police are looking for the money and looking for me. And maybe that's how I landed up in the hospital. I don't know. I'm just a rent collector. Dead end.
Hey, look at that sign on the wall. See, if they are the owners of the building and you are the rent collector, then they will know who you are, na?
Excuse me?
एक सेकंड होल्ड कर.
Bhushan and Co Real Estate.
क्या you have appointment?
Yes.
Yes.
For?
Rent collection.
7th floor.
Huh. Thank you.
That way, go straight. To the left पे lift है, lift.
Thank you.
Siddharth?
Huh?
Siddharth?
Yeah?
Come with me. Come with me. Thank God we found you.
Oi, buddy, phone call. Just tell them I'm sick. I'll call later. Yeah.
Just wait here. 1 minute.
Well, he seems to recognize you.
Yeah.
Tell him I'm your niece.
Niece?
Just in case he wonders. Right, uncle?
Come. Hey! Hey.
Huh?
It's me. Buddy.
Yeah. Buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, this is...
I'm his niece.
Where the hell have you been?
Well,
No, never mind. Wait. Okay. There are no cameras down here. We've got to get out of here. Thank God. Thank God. You just vanished. We thought you'd run out on us. So, where exactly did you put the money?
What?
We gotta go and get it. Where is it? I've been holding these guys off. They've been threatening to chop off my legs. I could hug you, man. Thank God you're here. We are back on track, Buddy and Siddharth. So what's the plan? Where do we go?
Oh. Well,
Oh, okay. We'll go to your place. Huh? अरे हट ना यार, जल्दी चलना, जल्दी चल. It's crazy, yeah. Okay.
You wait here.
How long will you be?
I don't know. Just wait here.
Where's the key?
What? Oh, I must have lost it at the hospital.
It's okay. You always hide the key under this loose tile. Don't you remember you showed me last time?
This is wrong. This is not where I live.
Yes, it is.
No. This is not right. There should be pictures on the walls of my family. This is a room. This is a bachelor's room.
Siddharth, just get yourself together. I'll pour you a drink. But you got a wife and kid I don't know about.
Yes.
Look. Who the hell are they?
What do you mean?
Siddharth, this is your home. I've spent hours here with you in front of the computer trying to make money. Okay, stop it. Okay, so where is it?
Sorry. What?
The money. No more messing around, please. Where is it?
I don't know.
You told me you could get it. You assured me your brother would loan it to you. You went to see him that night and then you just disappeared.
My brother?
He was the guy, the successful one. You told me he was going to help you, to give you the money. So, where is it?
I don't know.
Don't play this game. Where's the money?
I don't.
Where's the money?
I don't know.
Where's the money? Where's the money? Where's the money? Where's the money?
Where's Buddy?
He said we should go on ahead. He will take the bus to the office.
But the money, was it there? Was it at your house?
No.
Well, did he explain? Did he tell you what's going on, who you are? Who's after you?
Sort of.
So, where are we going, Uncle?
Well, we need to go somewhere. To think. To work this out. I'm beginning to understand. You see, having no past helps you to see everything for what it is. You see that beggar lying on the side of the road? Poor bastard, huh? But there will always be people like him. Beggars will come into existence who aren't even born yet. Beggars, murderers, thieves, victims. We're all yet to be born. Yet to exist. Think of that. Yes. I can see. It's like a bird. A black bird hovering above my head. It's like looking through muddy glass. And you need to turn the windscreen wipers on.
I need to pee.
No. Wait. Stay.
I need to pee.
Stay in the car. We're a team, right? We have to stay together now. I'm really sorry, kid, but this is it. No. Stay in the car. You know who I am, don't you? I can tell from the way you looked at me. When you saw me outside the colony, you recognized me. Tell me who I am.
I don't know.
You know me. You know the people in the photograph.
I don't.
Tell me. Tell me what happened to them. What happened to me? Tell me.
I know where the money is. I know where the money is.
Oh yeah, I know this place. I've been here before.
Should we knock?
Oh no, there's nobody in. In fact, nobody lives here. See? Actually, I think I used to live here. There's a broken fan. See?
What's that smell? Something smells bad.
I used to live here.
No, Uncle. I used to live here. With Mama and Papa. They've painted the walls, it's all changed.
Oh. I don't remember.
Do you remember coming and asking my father for money?
Oh, is that why the money is here? Did I leave it here?
You don't remember, Uncle?
Remember?
You were in the bathroom. Mama? Papa? Mama? Uncle?
Maybe I was here. I'm the rent collector. I was doing my job.
I heard the conversations you used to have with Papa. He gave you money before and he wasn't going to give you any more.
That is working, that is being invested.
So you took it and you killed them.
So, where is the money?
I don't know. Maybe you spent it, maybe you lost it. But I haven't brought you here for the money, Uncle. I've brought you here so you can remember what you've done. Uncle? What are you doing here?
Hari, you're back from school so early?
Yeah, they sent us home early because there were flies in the school.
Flies?
Yeah, Mrs. Chatterjee said that something must be dead under the floorboard, so they sent us home. Where are Mama and Papa?
They've gone out.
Out where?
I don't know.
Are you having a bath, Uncle?
Maybe. So hot, na?
Yeah. I'll go through the...
No. Don't go into the bedroom. Huh? Actually, come here. I want to show you something.
What? Sure. What are you...
See. No. I came in here to borrow the money. He lent me the money. He was happy to lend me the money. Your papa is my brother. I mean, I came in, we had a whiskey, we had a joke with your mama. You don't understand. She was fine. She was laughing.
Same as the prostitute was fine.
What do you mean?
You killed her. And what about your friend Buddy?
He went back to work.
What about the people who lived here?
Nobody lives here. No, don't go in there. No, don't. I told you not to go in.
Is this what my mama and papa looked like? I never got to see them.
We have to get out of here.
My parents on their knees begging.
No, you don't understand. It wasn't me.
You were here.
Yes, I was here. I admit it. But it was all right. It was all right. It was all good.
What are you doing, Uncle?
It was all good. Why won't you believe me? It was all good.
You can't kill me, Uncle. I'm already dead. Why don't you answer it?
Yes?
That's him. I told you he was here.
Hey, my friend, what's the problem?
Open the door fully, please.
Yes, Inspector Saab.
Search kara put up.
Oh, sir.
Search kara.
Is it the smell? Yes. There's something. And I found this kid in the flat.
What kid? Where?
Here she was just. She must have.
Sir, 2 bodies here, sir.
Huh?
What is your name?
I'm the rent collector.
What is your name?
There's been a terrible accident, Inspector Saab. I don't know what happened. I don't remember. I came to fix the fan. Listen. See, someone reported a problem with the fan. And I don't know who the kid is. I'm just the rent collector. I collect the rent.
In Scenes from a Crime, the part of Siddharth was played by Vivek Madan, the child Foize Jalali, Neeta Prerna Chawla, the neighbor Suhas Ahuja, Buddy Namit Das, and the couple Siddharth Menon and Shivani Tangsale. Scenes from a Crime was produced by Pritika Chawla and Ratnabali Bhattacharya. It was written and directed by John Dryden.
Murder Most Foul. 6 classic murder cases presented by Nick Ross. Case 4, The Body in the Trunk.
It's a sunny day in Brighton at the height of the holiday season in 1934. And many of the mob hooting and shouting as the Black Maria drives away from the magistrate's court are girls in beach pyjamas or bathing costumes. They're booing the wrong person. This man is a decoy. From a side door at the other side of the building, another man slips out, protected by 15 of Brighton's largest policemen, and is speeded off to custody in an unmarked van. He is Jack No Tire, otherwise Hyman Gold, otherwise Antonio Pirelli, but best known as Tony Mancini. He's just told the magistrates that he's not guilty of murdering Violet Kay. His real name is Cecil Lois England. A few weeks earlier, he'd been working as a waiter at the Skylark Cafe, one of those little eating places under the promenade at Brighton. It was May the 10th, 1934. One of Mancini's jobs then was to write out the menus.
Fillet of cod.
Fillet of cod?
Yeah, I don't think that's how you spell fillet.
How do you spell it then?
Oh, well, that'll do. Oh, I forgot. Here's a fiver for you, Tony.
I'm sorry, Dave. What's that for?
The way you handled those couple of bits of trouble last night.
Didn't see weren't no trouble.
Well, they're starting to leave me alone for a change now that they know that you're here. Thanks very much, Tony. Here, talking of trouble, isn't that your lady friend over there?
Violet? Oh, no. Yes, it is, unfortunately. Looks like she's half seas over.
Well, do us a favour. Have a little word with her. I don't want, no disturbance. Have a word, Tony.
Right. Hello, Violet.
He gave you money. What'd you take his money for? Isn't my money good enough for you? Isn't it?
Look
what
here,
you want it
you're
for?
drunk.
You're sick of me. You're
I'll
tired
get
of me
you
because I get
something to...
drunk.
I'll give you some cod.
I can't help it, Tony. I'm so unhappy. I can't help it, Tony. You're sick of me, aren't you?
Florrie?
Yes, Tony?
I'll get you your tea in just a sec, mate.
Don't you call that slut, mate. I won't have it.
All right. For goodness sake, why do pull yourself together?
I won't have it. I don't want you to call her mate.
Look, you better get home.
Don't you touch me, you punk.
And Violet Kay got up and walked out, only to park herself on a public bench a few yards from the Skylark Cafe. Mancini was indeed a ponce. He'd been living on her earnings until he got a job at the Skylark. He was a convicted thief, good-looking in a mafioso sort of way, and aged 26. She was slim, attractive, a convicted prostitute, and aged 42. Her real name was Violet Saunders, but during her not-too-successful career as a showgirl, she'd called herself Violet Kay. They'd come down from London together the previous autumn and lived in a series of bedsits and little flats in Brighton. The latest was in the basement of 44 Park Crescent. It had its own front door, which was essential for Violet's profession. They lived as man and wife and seemed happy enough. The landlord was genuinely concerned when Mancini, or Tony Watson as he knew him, came to see him a week or so later.
I'm afraid Vi's left me, Mr. Snuggs.
Has she? Oh, dear. I'm sorry, Tony.
Yeah, gone up to France. Got a job there.
Oh, has she now? She's a dancer, isn't she?
And singer. Cabaret artiste, really. The only thing is, it's a bit embarrassing, really.
What's that, Tony?
You see, without her, I can't afford to run this place myself. I need somewhere a bit smaller.
Oh, that's all right, lad. I understand.
Anyway, here's what I owe you.
Oh, Char.
I've got a room in Kemp Street. I bought myself this old trunk in the market for me things. Would you give us an hand with it upstairs?
Right. It's heavy, isn't it?
It's amazing what you accumulate, isn't it?
Mancini got a couple of street urchins to help with the trunk and to wheel it to his new digs on the Barrow, stopping off on the way for a cup of tea and a bacon sandwich. And so life went on as usual for the waiter, until a month or so later, when the police made a gruesome discovery. On Derby Day, in the left luggage department of Brighton Station, the torso of a woman was found in a trunk. The legs were later found in a suitcase. Some 40 or so women had been reported missing from Brighton that summer, so it was almost a matter of routine that the police should check up on Mancini with regard to Violet Kay. But they didn't get around to it for a couple of months. That was about mid-July.
Mancini, yeah?
Who?
Italian-looking bloke. Here's his photo.
Oh, that's Mr. England, Tony England. Though he's not here, not today. Sorry.
Could we have a look at his room?
We can get a search warrant if necessary.
What? Oh, his room, it's just down here. Careful now. No, it's funny, I ain't seen him for a couple of days. Not like him, that. Here you are. This is it.
Oh, keep rabbits, does he?
What you say?
Does he keep rabbits? The smell.
Oh, that. It's something he's got in that trunk of his. He said he was a French polisher or something. Or was it his football boots? Oh, I'll leave you to it. Would you like a cup of tea?
No, thanks. Well, reckon we'd better have a look inside that trunk. See what's there, eh?
It doesn't seem to be locked. Just tie that with rope.
Right. I've got a knife here. Suppose better open it. Cool.
Scotland Yard, July the 16th, 1934. Police statement. On July the 15th, a trunk containing the complete body of a woman was found in Kemp Street. The police desire to interview Cecil Lewis England, otherwise known as Tony England, and Tony Pierelli, and Tony Luigi Mancini, and Jack Nottire. He has the appearance of an Italian, but is undoubtedly British. He is 5 foot 6 inches in height, slim with dark...
At 1:30 next morning, he was picked up walking between Eltham and Lee. He said he was walking to Maidstone, but he then admitted he was the man they were looking for, though he denied murdering Violet Kay. He gave his name as Jack Nottire, and it was under this name that he was charged when he came to trial at Lewes in the second week of December in that same year, 1934. By law, the prosecution was not allowed to bring up Mancini's previous convictions in court, but everyone knew he had several. Violet Kay's sister-in-law had received a telegram saying, "Going abroad, good job. Sail Sunday, will write." When the slip on which it was written was compared to that menu from the cafe, the handwriting was found to be the same. There were witnesses who said that Mancini had boasted of hitting Violet with a hammer. A half-burned hammer was found at Park Crescent, and others who told of violent quarrels between the couple. And above all, there was the trunk and its contents. A hardened newspaper man nearly collapsed when it was carried past him in court. Yet Mancini had slept beside it throughout that long, hot summer. His only hope lay in the fact that he was being defended by Norman Burkitt, one of the greatest of all defence lawyers. But even Burkitt admitted in private that he found his client a despicable and worthless creature. The trial opened on December the 10th.
Please, Your Lordship, members of the jury. The defendant is known to some of the witnesses by other names, and the dead woman, Violet Saunders, also had used other names. In 1932 and 33, she appeared on stage with a man named Kay. Their act was known as K and K.
The counsel for the Crown was the Recorder of Brighton, Mr. Castles. He was a man of scrupulous fairness. It took him 40 minutes to tell the whole sorry story: the telegram, the burnt hammer, the fracture of Violet's skull, the bloodstains, and the people who said they'd heard Mancini saying, "What's the good of knocking a woman about with your fists? You should hit them with a hammer," same as I did.
The evidence points, I submit, irresistibly to the conclusion that Mancini murdered the woman and is therefore answerable to that crime in law.
There was the usual technical witness amongst those first brought forward by the prosecution, but his job was simply to describe the flat at 44 Park Crescent. He was surprised when Norman Burkitt rose to cross-examine, a tall, slim figure with a slim silver pencil in his hand.
Inspector, you prepared this plan of the basement flat at 44 Park Crescent?
Yes, sir.
These steps I see here, were they worn down?
Yes, sir.
Were they steep, narrow?
Fairly so.
Did they call for care?
A little.
And this floor area below them, it had a stone surface, a hard stone surface?
Yes.
Thank you.
The next prosecution witness was the landlord at 44 Park Crescent, Henry Snuggs. Again, the silver pencil fluttered as Burkitt rose to cross-examine.
Mr. Snuggs, the couple you knew as Mr. and Mrs. Tony Watson, did they appear not only friendly, but affectionate?
Yes, sir.
Now, I want to get this plainly before the jury. At no time, from start to finish, did you ever see anything of any kind to the contrary?
No, sir.
How did you regard the defendant? What did you think of him?
He was always a perfect gentleman. I have no hesitation in saying so.
Thank you.
It was established that Mr. Snuggs had seen various men going down to the flat. The next witness was the chauffeur to one of Violet's regular clients. He'd driven over to tell her his boss, a bookmaker, had just been certified insane. He told the court, under cross-examination by Burkitt, that Violet had been shaky and excited.
I see. Are you familiar with the effect of drugs on people?
Yes?
Would you say that the appearance of this woman was like that of someone under the influence of drugs?
Yes, drugs and drink.
Did she seem extremely frightened?
Yes.
Her condition was really remarkable, was it not?
Yes, sir, it was.
He also said he'd heard voices in the other room of the little flat. The chauffeur, whose name was Kerslake, was the last person to see Violet Kay alive. In all, the Crown had 50 witnesses. The first day was a long one. They even called the previous tenant of the flat, who said he'd left a hammer behind.
This hammer that was found in the fireplace, charred, is it a common type of hammer?
Yes, I suppose it is.
A common type, used by shoemakers.
It's rather old-fashioned.
Can you really swear that that is the hammer you left in the flat?
Well, no, I can't. It's impossible to say.
Next day, Tuesday, began with various witnesses who'd known the couple. There was a Mrs. Summers, and shortly afterwards a waitress, Miss Joyce Golding, who told the court that Mancini had spoken to her of savage quarrels between himself and Violet Kay.
Miss Golding, where are your waitress now?
I'm not working now.
I'm sorry to have to do this, very sorry indeed, but you haven't been a waitress in any sense of the term for years, have you?
No,
How do you live?
on the streets.
Quiet, please. You had known Mancini well for 5 or 6 years.
Yes.
I suppose you read a great deal in the papers about this case.
No, I didn't read much about it.
Look at the jury and tell them. Did you not read every single word about this man you had known for 6 years?
No, I wasn't interested that much.
Interested, madam? You had known him all these years. Do you mean to say that you did not read with eagerness every word?
No, I didn't.
I believe that statement is false. Let me suggest to you that another matter is wholly false. He never suggested to you that he had quarrelled with his wife.
Yes, several times. I can bring witnesses to prove it. There is one here.
Who is that?
Mrs. Summers would tell you.
She was not to know that Phyllis Summers had already testified that Mancini and his mistress always seemed on affectionate and friendly terms. It was a small victory for the defence. Mr. Burkitt didn't press the witness as to why she'd apparently lied. He was saving that up for his examination of his own client. He dealt next with the witnesses who said that they'd heard Mancini boasting of beating up his missus and using a hammer. He cross-examined with great restraint, simply letting them contradict each other and blacken each other's characters. Burkitt was saving his big guns for Dr. Roche Lynch, the Home Office analyst.
Dr. Lynch, you say you found morphine in the body.
Yes.
In your earlier statement, you said that the quantity of morphine found in the body was distinctly greater than a medicinal dose. Do you mean by that a fatal dose?
Well, it may have been. It is absolutely impossible to say. The body was in an advanced state of decomposition.
To take another matter, the shirt and trousers I have here, which belong to my client, and which were examined by the jury, you say these were spotted or smeared by human blood, and that, let me see, one of the spots is pear-shaped. That shows a drop of blood was deposited from a distance. It might have spurted from a small artery. Dr. Lynch?
Well, that is correct.
But, Doctor, in this case, you have not been able to distinguish the blood group on these articles of clothing, have you?
Unfortunately not.
And owing to the decayed state of the body, you were also unable to discover the blood group of the dead woman.
That is so.
I see. Now, I have a microscope here. It is a very minute spot of blood, isn't it?
It is small.
Could it have been caused by a finger in the lining of the pocket?
I suppose that is possible.
Do you know when this shirt was bought?
I do not.
Or when these trousers were?
No.
If I were to establish that they were not in the accused's possession during the woman's life. Would it be clear, do you think, that the blood could not be hers?
Silence, please. Silence in court. I do not think, Mr. Burkitt, that it would require any special expertise to deduce that.
My lord, I will be calling a tailor to give evidence that although these clothes were ordered in May, they were not delivered until June, well after Miss Kay's death.
The third day was Wednesday. One of the last Crown witnesses called was Chief Inspector Donaldson, merely to give evidence on various routine police matters. He was startled by one of Burkitt's questions.
Chief Inspector, the man in the dock is a blackguard, is he not?
Yes, sir. I think I would describe him as such.
An idle, worthless man without morals or principles.
Yes, sir. I think that about sums him up.
With previous convictions?
That is so.
Yet, with your knowledge of him, would you agree that there have been false statements in the press relating to the prisoner?
Yes, I'm satisfied that many of the newspaper stories were untrue.
So, this paragraph, published in a national newspaper, which says that he has been charged and convicted of stabbing a woman in Soho, is untrue.
Yes, there's no foundation for it at all.
I want you to tell the court of the prisoner's convictions.
Yes, sir. One moment, sir. There are three. On September 4th, 1929, the prisoner was convicted of stealing a quantity of silver, and he was bound over. On July 24th, 1931, at Birmingham, he received 3 months' imprisonment for loitering with intent to commit a felony. On March 1933, at Thames Police Court, he received 6 months' imprisonment for stealing clothing from a dwelling house.
And they are the only convictions?
Yes, sir, they are.
Then there has been no conviction for any crime of violence?
No, sir. Never, sir.
Usually, defending counsel will do all they can to stop the court from hearing about their client's previous record. The 50th and last Crown witness was perhaps the most formidable, the great pathologist, the almost legendary figure, Sir Bernard Spilsbury. If anyone could be a match for Norman Burkitt, it was Sir Bernard. If Burkitt brought a microscope into court, Spilsbury went one better. He brought in a human skull to illustrate his points, and then went one better still by producing the actual scrap of bone from Violet Kay's head that proved she died of a fractured skull. It was his unqualified opinion that the fracture had been produced by a blunt object, very possibly the hammer discovered in the cellar.
Sir Bernard, your views are rightly described as theories, are they not?
I'm not sure that is right, when my opinion is based on experience.
Well, they are the results of your experience, but are mere theories without question.
They are, in the sense they are not facts.
How long have you been in possession of the small piece of bone which has been produced here for the first time on the third day of the trial?
Since my first examination.
5 months ago.
Yes.
Did it not seem to you that the defence might have been informed that the small piece of bone was in your possession?
I'm afraid it did not occur to me.
You appreciate that there was no doctor for the defence present at the post-mortem?
No, I don't think there was.
The irreproachable Sir Bernard Spilsbury had been made to look a bit of a cad, and someone whose evidence was, in Norman Burkitt's carefully chosen words, mere theory. Burkitt then largely dismissed the matter of the morphine. In his preferred scenario, morphine played a minor role.
In many cases of injuries, does not controversy arise as to whether they are caused by a blow or a fall?
That is so.
If a person 5 foot 2 inches in height and slightly drunk or drugged were standing on a platform 7 feet from the ground and fell, their head would fall through a distance of something like 12 feet, wouldn't it?
It would.
The possibility of a fatal fall in that case is apparent.
Quite apparent.
Will you please look at this plan and this photograph? They depict the entrance to the basement flat at 44 Park Crescent. You see, do you, the stone stairway that leads down to the flat?
There was continuing argument about the technical nature of the injury, but it certainly did seem a possibility. For the first time, that Wednesday, the 12th of December 1934, Norman Burkitt began to think they might stand a chance. It would all depend on two people next day, himself and his client. In his opening speech for the defence, Burkitt attacked the newspaper stories again, pointing out that, to his client, these fabrications could affect whether he lived or died. He spoke of Mancini's criminal record. He attacked Spilsbury and Lynch, the scientific experts. He demolished the evidence of the three men who said Mancini had boasted of beating Violet up. Not a bruise had been found on her body. And then there was the trunk and its contents.
There is a feature of this case that has never been in dispute. The concealment of the body and the lies told to explain it. But concealment and lies, remember, are not murder. The prisoner knew he would be blamed and couldn't prove his innocence, and from this, all else followed. There was no turning back. I can tell you what he did. I can tell you how he did it. But he himself can best tell you what he thought and felt. Of the strain, the anxiety, the overwhelming fear. I call Cecil Lewis England, the prisoner.
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
You are Cecil Lewis England, otherwise known as Tony Mancini, Jack Nottire.
One moment, Mr. Burkitt.
My lord?
Prisoner at the bar.
Yes, sir?
What was that object you took out of your pocket while you were swearing the oath? What was it?
This, sir. A rosary.
Are you a Roman Catholic?
I was.
Proceed, Mr. Burkitt.
Mancini's counsel took him through his life to the day he started to live with Violet Kay at 44 Park Crescent. Mancini explained how they were always moving because she lived in fear as a result of being a prostitute. This fear was also the reason for her heavy drinking.
Was she often intoxicated?
Often.
During the whole time you lived together as man and wife, how did you get on together?
Strange as it is, I used to love her. We were always on the most affectionate terms. There were no quarrels.
Does that cover the whole time?
Every second she was alive.
How did she behave when she came to the Skylark Cafe on Thursday, May the 10th?
She was staggering a little. She wasn't herself.
When you came home and found her lying on the bed, what did you do?
I thought she was asleep. I caught hold of her shoulders and said, "Wake up." Then I saw the blood on the pillow.
When you found she was dead, why didn't you call the police? Mr. England, why didn't you call the police?
I? With my record?
This was the key to Burkitt's case, the underworld in which Mancini lived. Norman Burkitt, KC, could hardly criticise the police, but Tony Mancini, ponce and convicted petty thief, certainly could. He could explain that the so-called waitress, Joyce Golding, could easily be picked up for soliciting if she didn't say what she thought the police wanted. Burkitt called the tailor to prove his client did not own the blood-stained clothes at the time of the murder. He called his client's mother, a sad, well-spoken little lady in a black dress. It became clear that her son's background was not the world that he'd sunk into. His father was a civil servant in Whitehall. This explained the fluctuations in Mancini's adopted accent. Maybe even the misspellings on the Skylark menu were an affectation. Prosecuting counsel had the last word. Burkitt had to make his words so ring in the jury's ears that they would ignore Mr. Castle's reasoned arguments even as they listened to them. His speech then came to a powerful climax.
Members of the jury, I want very much to emphasize this. Speaking first, I do not know what Mr. Castle will be saying in reply. I shall not be allowed to speak to you again. Violet Kay was a prostitute. This man admits living upon her earnings, and I have no word to say in extenuation. None. But consider the world in which these people live, and the dangers to which they are continually exposed. We are dealing with a class of men who pay 8 for a shirt, and women who pay a shilling for a place to sleep. Mancini has said that they went everywhere in fear. Isn't it reasonable that in that woman's life, an unhappy, dreadful, an unspeakable life, blackmail may have played a part? We all know somewhere in this world of the people whom Kerslake heard speaking in the Park Crescent flat on May the 10th. The finding of this body has been proclaimed from the housetops. Those who were in the flat, they had a tale to tell, but not a word. Never a word. I have endeavoured to lay the whole case before you. I think I am entitled to claim for this man a verdict of not guilty. And, members of the jury, in returning that verdict, you vindicate a principle of law that people are not tried by newspapers, not tried by rumour, but tried by British juries called to do justice and decide upon the evidence. I ask you for, I appeal to you for, and I claim from you a verdict of not guilty. Stand firm.
And after speaking for 57 minutes without notes, he sat down. There followed Mr. Castle's speech for the prosecution, and the jury then went out. 2.5 hours later, everyone filed back into the court.
Not guilty.
Not guilty? Not guilty, Mr. Burkitt? Mr. Burkitt, not guilty? Not guilty, eh? Mr. Burkitt, not guilty?
Yes. And now go home and look after your mother. She stood by you through everything.
In English law, no person can be tried for the same crime twice. In November 1976, Mancini gave an interview to the News of the World. It was shortly after his 70th birthday. He admitted that he'd killed Violet Kay. Indeed, 2 years later, he swore an affidavit before a solicitor to the same effect. As for the corpse in the trunk at Brighton Station, no one ever found out who she was, or who killed her.
In The Body in the Trunk, Peter Hugo Daly played Mancini, and Anthony Bate played Norman Burkitt. Other parts were played by Timothy Bateson, Timothy Carlton, Tara Dominic, James Green, Ian Lindsay, Petra Markham, Mark Straker, and Brett Usher. Murder Most Foul is written by John Scotney and presented by Nick Ross. The producer was Tim Souter.
Cold fear. The fear of the murderer disposing of the body, which would give deadly...
I laid the carpet in the backyard and threw about 20 or 30 buckets of water on it to try to wash the blood off. And the colour of the water that came off was like blood.
Next thing I remember was something scratching and pulling at my mouth. I opened my eyes, and Jean was lying there under me, and I had my hands around her throat.
Murder Most Foul. 6 classic murder cases presented by Nick Ross. Case 3, The Major, the Scone, and the Dandelions.
Good shot, Major. 30 all. Ready? I say, well done. You really are on form today, Major. 40-30. Set point, isn't it? I do believe it is.
Herbert?
Yes, my dear?
Come, Herbert. It's 6 o'clock.
Yes, dear.
Hay on Wye is a small town, and in 1920, when it was simply called Hay, it was even smaller. So everyone knew everyone else's business. And everyone knew that dapper little Major Armstrong was henpecked.
Can't we just finish the game, old man? It's a pretty exciting point.
And don't forget,
No.
tonight is your bath night, Herbert.
No, best not, Doctor. Sorry. Coming, my dear.
He'd arrived in the town in 1906. He was a solicitor, he married the following year, and joined the Colours in 1914. He returned in 1919 to continue his practice. He was a man of perhaps excessive dignity, maybe because he was so tiny. He only weighed 7 stone. but he was far more popular than the town's other solicitor. And he was indeed a figure of some importance. He was clerk to the local magistrates, and since they weren't lawyers, he in effect ran their court. But at home, he was completely under the thumb of his wife, who would allow no alcohol in the house, and even if they were dining out with friends, her rule applied.
Yes, I have indeed. I want no more.
Claret or Burgundy, sir?
Oh, thank you, no. The Major does not take wine.
No, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the King.
The King. Yes, sir.
Would you care for a cigar, sir?
He most certainly would not. Puffing filthy tobacco is a disgusting and antisocial habit.
No, thank you.
Perhaps a glass of port, sir?
I think you may have a glass of port, Herbert. It will do your cold good.
Thank you.
She really was that tough. But, in fairness, it should be said that she probably wasn't altogether right in the head at this time. She suffered from pain in the arm and a numbing in the fingers of one hand. She had been a talented pianist, but now found herself unable to play. Dr. Hinks, who was also a friend of the family, could find little physically wrong, and described her physical symptoms as functional, that is, brought on by her mental state, which by August 1920 was giving him cause for concern. She'd become acutely depressed and morbidly self-critical.
Doctor, I'm a disgrace to my family. I have wrecked poor Herbert's career. And the children. I confess I've been a terrible mother. Oh.
You haven't, Catherine. That's simply not true.
It is. I must leave home. Yes. Do you know, there's a warrant out for my arrest.
No, there isn't.
There is, I tell you. I've lived an unchristian life. I've been cruel to my children and I've been cheating the tradesmen, defrauding them. They're watching me, you know. They're trying to trap me. They're going to arrest me.
I'm sure they're not. Now, here, let me take your pulse.
Instead of the normal 80, her pulse was up to 120. She was vomiting frequently, her lips were blue, and her complexion sallow. There was evidence of a heart murmur. After calling in a second opinion, Dr. Hinks certified her as of unsound mind, as did the other doctor, Dr. Jane. Dr. Hinks and the Major travelled with her to Barnwood Private Asylum. She was to remain there for 4.5 months. During that time, life was rather more relaxed at Mayfield, the Major's house. He gave little dinner parties where wine was drunk and cigars were smoked quite openly. He went off to London quite a lot, and he spent a lot of time seeing to his garden. He was proud of his large garden. He'd won several prizes at local flower shows, but there was one great problem with it, as his gardener, Will Jay, explained.
It's a terrible garden for weeds, this is, you know, sir.
I am aware of that, Jay.
They used to keep a boy here in the old days. Nothing to do all day but pull up weeds.
So I'm told.
On account of it being practically surrounded by fields, you see.
Yes,
that's where all these plantains and dandelions come from, sir.
What about weed killer? For the dandelions.
Would you like me to get some, sir?
No, I prefer my own. I've got the materials.
I wouldn't put it down this dry weather, sir. It tends to lie around. Needs to soak in, you see.
Well, not the way I use it, Jay. Not the way I use it.
As well as gardening, the Major had other interests, which explained his increasingly frequent visits to London. He was often there on business, even when his wife was at home. He was something of a gambler, although an unsuccessful one. And, well, Dr. Hinks was treating him, in confidence of course, for venereal disease. The Major was a good lawyer, with a good and growing practice. Nonetheless, his trips to London meant he was living well beyond his means. And the fees charged by Barnwood can't have been cheap. But Mrs. Armstrong was making excellent progress. She was even playing the piano again. Ever solicitous for her, her husband felt she would benefit from a return to the bosom of her family. He told Dr. Hinks how much better she was, and got him to write to Dr. Townsend, who was in charge of Barnwood.
Dear Dr. Townsend, I'm glad to hear that Mrs. Armstrong is improving mentally and physically.
From what Major Armstrong tells me, she appears to have lost her delusions and to be normal mentally. Her principal worry seems to be her surroundings and her desire to get home to start her household duties again.
Dear Dr. Hinks, Mrs. Armstrong has improved both mentally and physically, and Major Armstrong is very desirous of having her home. However, in my opinion, she is not yet well mentally. She is constantly making accusations against herself of having misspent her life and failed in her duty towards her husband and children. So you see, her delusions have not gone. Her great anxiety is to return home, and so under the circumstances, I think it would be well to get from the committee on Monday next a leave of absence on trial for 3 months.
Mrs. Armstrong came home on the 22nd of January. For a week or so she was very much better, but, alas, her recovery was brief. At first it was her feet. She developed what might be described today as a John Cleese funny walk. The doctors called it a high-steppage gait. She would raise her foot high off the ground, hesitate for a long time, and then bring it down with a bang. Dr. Townsend had noticed the same thing, but had written to Dr. Hinks to say it was functional and had no physical cause. If it was purely in her mind, so Dr. Hinks reasoned, he might be able to persuade her out of it by walking her round the room. This was on the 11th of February.
I feel as though I have springs under the soles of my feet pressing me to the ground.
Here, take my arm. I'm sure you can do it.
No, I can't.
Come now, make the effort.
I can't. I can't.
You can. Try.
Very well. No, I can't do it.
Soon she again found it hard to use her hands. Dr. Hinks tested the knee jerk, the automatic reaction to the knee being tapped sharply. Nothing happened. When he left on the 11th, she was back in bed. On the 16th of February, he was called and examined her again.
How is she, Tom?
Not good, I'm afraid, Major. Right back to where she was before she went to Barnwood, I'm afraid.
Oh, dear.
She's vomiting again.
Well, as I told you, she's always had these bilious attacks. She's a martyr to indigestion.
This is worse than that. She's got intense pain in her abdomen. She could hardly bear me to touch it.
Appendicitis?
No sign of that. But the heart murmurs back.
I see.
Her pulse is right back up to 120. And the cyanosis of the lips is back.
Of the what?
The blueness.
Oh, yes.
I must tell you the truth. I'm afraid the prognosis isn't good, Major. But I'll leave you some medicine.
Thank you for everything, Tom.
Dr. Hinks came to see her every day. She could take no food or drink. She had a nurse, but the Major often took over from her. Mrs. Armstrong's complexion became copper-coloured, and she got extremely thin. Eventually, on February the 22nd, she died. Dr. Hinks signed the death certificate.
Cause of death, heart disease over 12 months, nephritis over 6 months, and gastritis 21 days. Dr. Thomas E. Hinks, registered.
Mrs. Armstrong was buried 3 days later in the little churchyard at Cusop. Only 4 people attended the funeral. But on the following Sunday, the rector turned the service into a kind of memorial for her. The Major read the lessons with great feeling.
And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men.
Hay on Wye, as we now call it, is a charming place, with narrow streets, a ruined castle, a tall clock tower, and pretty little shops. Nowadays, an awful lot of them are bookshops. It's just the sort of place you'd expect to find Miss Marple. The people involved even sound like something out of Miss Christie's books. The Major, the Doctor, the Gardener, and those we've yet to meet. the man with the scarred face and the mystery woman. But this was real. A real woman had died in real pain. Her will was read. There were two wills, one of 1917, leaving most of Mrs. Armstrong's £2,000 to her 3 children. That was written in her own hand. And a later will, dated June the 8th, 1920, a couple of months before she was certified as of unsound mind. This was written in the Major's hand, and it left her little all to him. Think again of Agatha Christie. Now, here were all the elements she relished, including, as we've seen, tennis parties, tea parties, as we shall see, and poison. Indeed, not just any poison, but the novelist's favourite, arsenic, Major Armstrong's weed killer. The punctilious Major, having bought it in half-pound packs, apparently had his own curious technique for using it in his war against the dandelions.
Divide the package up. Take 4 ounces and divide them into 2 small packets of 2 ounces. From each make a store of tiny packets. Driving an old file into the ground, drop one of the tiny packets into each aperture. Do this in the case of each dandelion, taking a separate dose to each.
And so Major Armstrong, or so he said, wiped out a total of 19 dandelions. Indeed, one of these tiny packets was found in what he claimed was his gardening kit. It contained rather more than over 3 grains of arsenic, just the right amount to kill a human being. I said that the Major wasn't the only solicitor in Hay in the early 20s. The other, rather less popular solicitor was Mr. Oswald Martin. His office was exactly opposite the Major's. Mr. Martin had a scarred face that made him look as if he was smiling rather cruelly. He was deaf in one ear, and thanks to the semi-paralysis of half his face, spoke rather clumsily. Nothing could be in greater contrast to the smart military bearing of the Major. Yet both gentlemen had been involved in the war. The Major, understandably as one who had served in the war to end all wars, insisted that everyone address him by his military rank. Mr. Martin didn't. Indeed, I've no idea what his rank was. He might have been a private soldier for all I know, but the difference between them was that the Major had spent his entire war service in England, whereas Mr. Martin had spent his on the Western Front, where he had finally been severely wounded in the face in 1918. I promised you a tea party. It was given by the Major at Mayfield for Mr. Martin 7 months after Mrs. Armstrong's death.
From Martin and Griffith, Solicitors, Hay. Dear Major Armstrong, as you know, we have been instructed by Mr. John Jones of Brecqua to act on his behalf regarding the purchase of the Velin Noweth estate at Brecon. Deposits of a total of £500 were placed with you. It is now over a year since we entered into negotiations, and we have written to you several times on this topic. I must inform you that we have been instructed by our clients that unless completion takes place before the 20th of October 1921, they will rescind their contract and will require the return of the deposit you hold. Yours sincerely, Owen Martin, Solicitor at Law and Commissioner for Oaths. Hello, Martin?
Hello, Martin. Armstrong here. Look, I'm sorry about all this kerfuffle about the Vellinoweth estate. Why don't you pop over to Mayfield for tea? We can chat about the whole thing informally. And I'll show you around the garden. I'm rather proud of it, actually.
Oswald Martin was taken aback. The Major had previously been somewhat aloof. What's more, he noticed the Major's agitation. He wasn't to know that Major Armstrong no longer had the £500 deposit. The little flutters, the little trips to London, had eaten it all up. And he didn't yet have access to the cash from his wife's estate. There were trivial irregularities in the will, such as the fact that the witnesses had no idea what they were signing. When Oswald Martin arrived at Mayfield, he was, quite literally, led up the garden path. The Major spent half an hour walking him round the garden and lecturing him about the trials and tribulations of horticulture, before he steered him back towards the house for tea.
As I was saying, my dear Martin, all would be fine if it wasn't for these deuced weeds.
Yes, Major. Major, about the
I
deposits.
am a martyr to weeds. Now, my gardener was saying it's because we're surrounded by fields here.
My clients are adamant.
I see the Major's left the tea thing. Sit you down, sit you down.
Thank you. Have you been in touch with the vendors again?
Yes. Yes, still the same bother with the Yorkshire Penny Bank, would you believe? Look, let's have a cup of tea before we talk business, eh? No shop in the mess? One lump or two?
Two, please. I'm afraid I am a little pressed for time. I really
two, and you must have one of these buttered stones. Excuse my fingers.
Thank you. I have to tell you, my clients...
Well, go on, try it. Try it. They're absolutely delicious.
Yes.
From the little shop in the High Street, the cafe place.
Yes, very nice indeed. Major, I really must insist.
Oh, dear, look. There is Mr. Buchanan coming down the path. Rector, you know, possibly something about parish business. Oh, do excuse me a moment, Martin. There's some currant bread there. I believe that's one of your favourites. Help yourself. Excuse me? Mr. Buchanan. Mr. Buchanan.
They never did quite get round to talking about the repayment of that £500 deposit lodged with Major Armstrong. And when Mr. Martin eventually left, it was 6:30. It took him 20 minutes to get home in his car. Mr. Martin was newly married. His bride was a trained nurse and the daughter of the village chemist, John Davis, the man who'd sold the Major his arsenic.
Hello, dear. How did it go?
It was strange. He seemed to want to do anything rather than talk about the estate.
Oh.
It was almost as though he had a personal interest in not getting it cleared up. Oh.
You all right, dear? You look a bit peaky.
I don't feel too good. Been working too hard.
Oh.
Look, if you don't mind, I'll skip dinner.
Oh, I cooked it specially.
Oh.
It's jugged hare and coffee custard afterwards.
Fine. No, I'll be all right. I'll try some, love, I will.
But he didn't eat much of it. At 9:10, he was sick. He went to bed and was then sick incessantly throughout the night. There was an intense pain in the abdomen and diarrhea, and he was conscious of his heart. It was going extremely rapidly. Dr. Hinks came at 9 o'clock next morning.
Well, your temperature's normal. I must say you don't look too good, old man.
I don't feel too good.
Right. Now, let's have a look at your tongue. Oh, that's all right, anyway. Eyes pretty bloodshot. He's been vomiting a lot, you say, Mrs. Martin?
Yes, Doctor. It started very dark, but it's got much lighter. In the bowl there.
Let's see. Now, let's check your liver. No enlargement. Do you feel pain anywhere?
My stomach.
Right. Does that hurt?
No.
Oh, not appendicitis. What about here? Sounds like food poisoning to me.
His pulse was very fast.
Oh, really? I'd better check it again, then.
If it was food poisoning, shouldn't I be ill, too? I had exactly the same food.
No, you didn't. Don't forget, I had tea at the Major's.
Well, maybe the Major's feeling queasy, too. Good Lord, your pulse is up to 120.
That's what it was last night.
Strange.
The ailment cleared up slowly, but much more slowly than Dr. Hinks expected. After Mr. Martin had been ill for 4 days, he decided to take a urine sample and get John Davis, the chemist, to send it off for clinical analysis. The sample contained arsenic, and quite a lot of arsenic, considering it was 4 days since the attack began and the amount of vomiting that had occurred. The doctor was a keen horseman, and it was while riding over to visit a distant patient that he drew conclusions which led him and Mr. Martin to have a discreet meeting with a very important figure.
So, you see, Chief Constable, Mrs. Armstrong's symptoms were, in effect, the same as Mr. Martin's here. I should have recognised it as arsenic poisoning at the time, but it's not the sort of thing you expect to find in a place like Hay.
I couldn't believe it.
Of course not. You say you've been in communication with a Dr. Townsend?
Yes, he's in charge of the Barnwood Asylum, where Mrs. Armstrong was sent. He completely concurs with my belief that she'd been receiving numerous non-fatal doses of arsenic for some time. These had accumulated within the body,
This explains why her physical illness disappeared at the asylum as her body became cleansed of the poison, though her mental health remained much the same.
And the dosage was presumably started again when she got home. I see. Is there anything else?
Yes, these chocolates.
Chocolates, Mr. Martin?
They were sent to me anonymously in September. My wife and I don't like chocolates much, but when one of my relatives came over, she ate several and was violently ill afterwards, with the same symptoms I had.
I see.
My father-in-law's a chemist, and he had some of them analysed. If you look here, you'll see a small hole has been punched in the bottom of some of them and then covered over.
Yes, I see. And these ones contained arsenic?
Yes.
Well, it's a ticklish business, gentlemen. Major Armstrong is an important figure in Hay, not to mention in the magistrate's court. And I'll see what I can do. I'll need the urine sample and these chocolates for analysis by our people. In the meantime, Mr. Martin, don't accept any more tea invitations from the Major.
Well, that's just the trouble. He keeps on inviting me.
Mr. Martin, whatever you do, don't go.
Martin here.
Major Armstrong here.
Major, are you ready to complete?
No, not quite. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
No more digestive trouble?
No.
Good. Look, would you care to come to tea tomorrow?
No. No, thank you. My wife and I are already engaged. I've promised to go to Hereford to meet some friends.
What about the next day, then?
Booked then as well, I'm afraid.
Friday, then?
Sorry, can't make it.
All in all, Oswald Martin received over 20 invitations to tea. Meanwhile, 2 Scotland Yard detectives were keeping the Major under observation. The 2 solicitors, being face-to-face across the street, could also watch each other and the comings and goings in their respective premises. This made it awkward when the Major took to having tea in his office.
Hello?
Martin?
Yes?
Come across and have a cup of tea. I've got some cakes and things in. Kettle's boiling. What about it?
I'm afraid I'm busy.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't see anyone go in.
I'm dictating some urgent letters.
Let them wait.
They can't wait. They've got to catch the post.
Later, Oswald Martin took to ordering his own tea in his office considerably earlier than the Major's. The Major would then be able to see that, as his rival had already taken tea, there was no point in inviting him across. Inevitably, though, this led to the Major taking his tea even earlier to get in first, and so it went on. The whole thing sounds wonderfully absurd, but it was hell for the young solicitor and his wife to live through. They took it in turns to lie awake at night, presumably in case a beckoning figure with a teacup and a scone appeared at their window. No one could have been more relieved when eventually on New Year's Day, Major Armstrong was arrested by the Chief Constable himself for the attempted murder of Oswald Norman Martin. And no one could have been more surprised than the Major. But he took it calmly and made a statement explaining all about the dandelions. The citizens of Hay were astonished. Many put it down to professional jealousy on the part of Oswald Martin. But then, the very next day, strange things were happening in Cusop Churchyard. Dr. Bernard Spilsbury was the most famous pathologist in the world. He'd taken the train from Paddington to Hereford, but there were only 3 trains a day on the little branch line to Hay, and he couldn't be expected to wait, so a police car was organised. It halted for a moment in Hay by the clock tower to pick up Dr. Hinks. It was dark when they reached the churchyard at Cusop, and snow lay on the ground. Canvas screens had been rigged up round Mrs. Armstrong's grave. The Chief Constable was already in the churchyard.
Looks like we're nearly there, Dr. Spilsbury.
Good. Right, lads. That's it, I reckon.
You are?
Humphrey Webb, the undertaker, Dr. Spilsbury.
And you identify that coffin as Mrs. Armstrong's?
Oh, yes, sir.
Well, if you'll get your fellows to pull it out.
Yes, sir. Come on, lads. I'll give you a hand. This way. Come on.
Where are they taking it, Chief Constable?
That cottage over there. I've arranged for you to do your examination there. I'm afraid we're...
Dr. Hinks. Dr. Spilsbury. I must congratulate you on your perspicacity in this matter.
Thank you.
Ah, here we are. Oh, very quaint. Mr. Webb.
Doctor?
How are you doing?
Just this nice screw set. There she goes.
Good. Let's have the lid off. Well. What do you make of that, Dr. Hinks?
She's in a remarkable state of preservation.
Isn't she? And what does that suggest to you?
The antiseptic and preservative effects of arsenic.
So it does to me, Doctor. So it does to me. But let's not jump our guns, eh? I must get to work.
It was to be for the murder of Mrs. Armstrong that Major Armstrong would be tried. First of all, he had to appear before the local magistrates to establish whether there was a case to answer. And here the black comedy continued, since the Major himself was the clerk to the bench. His place was taken by an elderly colleague, the clerk to the bench at Talgarth. This was a post to which the Major himself had aspired. In fact, the Major had had the old clerk to dinner one evening together with the local inspector of taxes. Afterwards, the inspector had fallen ill with gastric trouble. Could the Major perhaps have served the specially prepared dish to the wrong man? In any case, the Talgarth clerk was very old indeed, and not really quite up to his onerous duties. Major Armstrong, in a spirit of professional camaraderie, offered to assist him, but the offer was refused. The Major was committed for trial at the next Herefordshire Assizes, and his fight for his own life began in earnest. But what about the victims? Not just the dead Catherine Armstrong, but the living Oswald Martin. The threats on his life, to say nothing of the notoriety, fatally affected the health of a man who'd already suffered so badly in the war. First, he fell victim to depression. He became afraid of the dark. He and his wife left Hay in 1924 and moved to East Anglia, but within a few years he was dead. And the 3 Armstrong children, 3 orphans, their mother murdered, their father hanged. For Major Armstrong was hanged.
In The Major, the Scone and the Dandelions, Aubrey Woods played Major Armstrong, John Rowe was Dr. Hinks, and Petra Davis, Mrs. Armstrong. Other parts were played by Danielle Allen, Timothy Carlton, Nigel Carrington, James Green, and Fraser Carr. Murder Most Foul is written by John Scotney and presented by Nick Ross. The producer was Mark Savage.
Cold fear. The fear of the murderer disposing of the body, which would give deadly...
I laid the carpet in the backyard and threw about 20 or 30 buckets of water on it to try to wash the blood off. And the colour of the water that came off was like blood.
Next thing I remember was something scratching and pulling at my mouth. I opened my eyes, and Jean was lying there under me, and I had my hands around her throat.
Murder Most Foul. 6 classic murder cases presented by Nick Ross. Case 2, Cabin 126.
What are we making? Just under 18 knots, sir. 17.9 to be precise, sir.
Good. That should keep the old man happy. I'll just log it. Temperature?
81 degrees, sir.
Well, not too bad for the tropics. And at least there's a breeze. Heard some of the passengers were thinking of having a midnight bathe in the pool. Who's there?
Murray, sir, night watchman reporting.
Ah, yes, Murray. Quiet night ahead.
More or less, sir, except one thing. We got a call at 02:58 this morning from one of the first-class cabins, number 126.
Who's that?
Miss Gibson, the actress.
Oh, yes, pretty girl. What the devil did she want at that time tonight?
Well, the funny thing, son, when we checked, both the red and green lights were on. She'd rung for both steward and stewardess. Anyway, I sent Steer down. He's my assistant.
Well, not ill, was she?
The thing was, when he got there, he went to open the door and, well, so it seems there was a man in there.
Really? Well, nothing we can do about it, is there? Not for us to interfere with the passengers' morals. I'll make a confidential note of it anyway. Thanks, Murray.
The ship is the Durban Castle, 90 miles out to sea off the coast of Africa, en route between Cape Town and Southampton. The date, October the 18th, 1947. Next morning, when the stewardess comes to give Miss Gibson her morning call, she's surprised to find the cabin is unlocked. She notices the young actress's pyjamas and dressing gown are missing, and assumes she's gone for her bath. She tidies up the room generally and makes the bed. It's a little more disarranged than usual, and there are a few small stains on the pillow and sheet, but nothing to worry about. The porthole is open, but that's usual in the tropics. Miss Gibson doesn't return, though, and the stewardess eventually gets concerned and goes to find the bathroom steward.
Bill?
What's up, Eileen?
It's Miss Gibson in 126. When I went to wake her up, her cabin was unlocked.
So what? They're supposed to be, aren't they?
Yeah, but she always locks hers. I warned her about it. Told her it was a fire risk and what have you. But she would insist on locking it. Said she was nervous. Anyhow, when I went in, she wasn't there. I thought she might have gone for a bath. You haven't seen her, have you?
No, I haven't. I don't notice her if she's been by. Very easy on the eye, that one.
That's funny. She's probably around somewhere. But I'd better report it. It's not like her.
Good morning, everyone. This is your captain, Captain Patey. One of the passengers, Miss Gay Gibson, appears to be missing. I'd be very grateful for information about her. Will anyone who has any information or has seen her recently please come forward? That is Miss Gay Gibson, a first-class passenger.
By 10:20 that morning, the captain knows she's not on board. Although no one has seen Gay Gibson since 1 o'clock the night before, one person does come forward. Steer, the steward. He admits that he had, in fact, recognised the man in the cabin. It was one of the deck stewards, James Cam, a good-looking, stocky 31-year-old. Although married, it seems Cam is far from faithful and unpopular for the way he was always boasting about his conquests. Nevertheless, Steer and Murray hadn't given him away to the officer of the watch, knowing if they'd done so, he would have been liable for dismissal. But now matters are more serious. Captain Patey orders Steer to say nothing to Cam, but sends for the deck steward himself. In the heat of the tropics, stewards usually wear singlets, but Cam arrives wearing his long-sleeved, high-necked jacket.
You asked to see me, sir? Yes, Cam. You realise that as a deck steward it is no part of your duty to go into passengers' cabins?
Yes, sir.
You are suspected of being in cabin 126 at 3 o'clock this morning. Was it you?
No, sir. I wasn't near any passenger cabin after 12:45 when I locked up my pantry.
Did you go straight to your quarters?
No, sir. After I finished at approximately 1 a.m., I went forward to the well deck where I sat and smoked.
How long for?
Not long, sir. I began to feel sleepy, so I went to the toilet and retired. After that, I smoked a cigarette, and then I wound my clock. That was a little after 2 a.m.
And you didn't leave your cabin after that?
No, sir. Not until we were called at 5:45 a.m.
I see. Well, I'd like that in writing, Cam.
Yes, sir.
And would you have any objection to being medically examined?
Why, sir?
Well, you must realise that you are suspected of the disappearance of Miss Gibson. In your own defence, you should be examined.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. I will, sir.
You can go now.
Yes, sir. Why all this suspicion? Let's get down to bedrock.
Cam writes out a signed statement about his whereabouts on the fateful evening. He also writes and signs a second statement concerning his medical examination by the ship's doctor, Dr. Griffiths. It seems the doctor found scratches on his neck and arms. This was presumably the reason for his wearing the long-sleeved high-necked jacket. Cam attributes the scratches to the heat, prickly heat, which is common enough in the tropics. He says he's nearly scratched himself to death, and the marks on his neck, he says, are caused by rubbing with a rough towel. Cabin 126 is locked up, and Cam continues with his duties. At midnight on the 24th of October, the Durban Castle arrives at Cowes Roads, and Detective Sergeant Quinlan and other members of the Southampton Police come out to board her. Captain Patey hands over the keys of cabin 126 to Quinlan, and at 5:25 the detective meets Cam.
I've been making inquiries into the disappearance of a first-class passenger from this ship, A Miss Gibson.
Should I know anything about it?
I have reason to believe that you can assist me regarding my inquiries into this matter, Mr. Camp.
I knew Miss Gibson. I've seen her on deck and have attended to her.
Have you ever been in Miss Gibson's cabin?
Never.
What time did you finish working on Friday the 17th of this month? That would be the night before Miss Gibson disappeared.
About 1 o'clock in the morning.
I have good reason to believe that you can give me some further information regarding this matter. I also believe that you were in Miss Gibson's cabin at about 3 a.m. in the early hours of the 18th of October.
And that puts me into a tight spot.
Look, I'm not satisfied with your explanation, Cam. I've got to make further inquiries. Are you prepared to accompany me to police headquarters at Southampton?
They take him there and then return to the Durban Castle. There they interview the stewardess, Eileen Field, who tells detectives that she's seen Cam and Gay Gibson together on various occasions, and that Cam had mentioned to her that Miss Gibson had told him she was 3 months pregnant. Murray also told detectives how he'd heard Cam tell Miss Gibson he had a bone to pick with her on the night she went missing, the 17th, and how, though this was hardly a normal remark for a steward to make to a first-class passenger, she'd taken it in good part. At Southampton, Cam's story begins to crack. He admits that he saw her at 11:30 on the 18th in her cabin to ask her if she wanted some lemonade. This is with the rum that it seems he'd brought down earlier. Quinlan and Plumley are then joined by Detective Sergeant Gibbons when they next interview Cam.
Cam, I've been through the evidence and I have to tell you that you're in a serious position. Do you understand that?
What do you mean?
Well, let's review the circumstances and see what your position is.
How do you mean?
You have said you did not see Miss Gibson after 11:30 on the night of the 17th, 18th October. If it can be proved conclusively that not only were you in the cabin at 3 a.m., but she was there also, and that Miss Gibson disappeared while you were there, and there is scientific evidence that she did disappear through the porthole, you may find your complete denial rather difficult to explain.
Does that mean I murdered her and I'll be charged with murder?
At this stage, I can't say whether you'll be charged or not. But I'm sure you'll realise that, particularly in the absence of a body, we have to give a particular care to any explanation you put forward. You may have a reasonable explanation for her death, but that will not be helped by your present complete denial.
You mean that Miss Gibson might have had a heart attack or something?
You must consider what explanation you want to make. Sergeant Quinlan?
Mr. Cam, are you in the habit of visiting female passengers in their cabins?
Yeah. Some of them like us better than the passengers. I've been with them several times on other trips.
Was that at night?
Yeah. I've been with several. Of course, if I'd been found out, I would have got the sack.
I understand that you've been alleging that Miss Gibson was in a certain condition.
She gave me that inference.
How did she give you that inference?
She told me, said she was pregnant.
I've reason to believe that your story is untrue.
Well, that's what she told me.
I agree with Detective Sergeant Quinlan. Your answers to him seem to be inconsistent with the true story. It's been established that you were in the cabin at 3 o'clock.
And what'll happen about that, then?
My inquiries regarding this matter have been very extensive, and I have now arrived at the conclusion that you have not given me a true account of your movements that night.
There seems to be something in what you say.
Cam is cautioned, and Detective Constable Plumley begins to type. Cam tells how he returned to Gay Gibson's room at 2 o'clock, and that there, intimacy took place. But suddenly...
Miss Gibson clutched at me, foaming at the mouth. She was very still. I felt for her heartbeats, but couldn't find any. She was very still. I cannot offer any explanation as to how the bells for the steward and the stewardess came to be rung, as I most definitely did not touch them myself. Thinking she had fainted, I tried artificial respiration on her. Whilst doing this, the night watchman knocked at the door and attempted to open it. I shut the door again, saying it was all right. Then I panicked, as I thought he'd gone to the bridge to report to the officer of the watch. After a few minutes, I could find no sign of life. After a struggle with the limp body, by the way she was still wearing her dressing gown, I managed to lift her up to the porthole and push her through. I am fairly certain that at the time she was dead, but I was terribly frightened. I then went forward.
These were the events that led to James Cam being charged with the murder of Gay Gibson. He was formally charged at 1:30 on the afternoon of the 26th of October, 1947. When the case finally came to trial on the 18th of March, 1948, before Mr. Justice Hilbery at the Winchester Assizes, the defence could not attempt to deny these facts. The scratches, the pushing of the buttons to summon both steward and stewardess, and, above all, Cam's blatant lying. Both the Crown and the defence had very able counsel. Mr. J.D. Caswell, K.C., for the defence, Cam was granted legal aid, and Mr. G.D. Roberts, K.C., for the Crown. There's a folk belief, we might as well call it, that if no body can be found, murder can't be proved. But that isn't true. And though murder trials without a corpus delicti, as the lawyers put it, are not that common, there have been plenty of them. Now, what happened off the African coast in October 1947 was curious for more reasons than just the lack of a body. Indeed, Mr. Roberts was able to argue that the very fact that there was no body, that Cam had admitted pushing Gay Gibson into the sea, strongly supported the prosecution's case.
Members of the jury, the prisoner, after 7 or 8 days of telling a different tale, put forward a defence. The defence that she died a natural death in his arms. Is there not one conclusive fact against that? The fact that the prisoner disposed of the body. If she died a natural death, what would have been easier for him than to have slipped unobserved from the cabin, as in fact he did? And then the next morning, this girl would have been found in her bed, sleeping her last sleep, having died a natural death. With what object did the prisoner push the lifeless body through the porthole? Can you imagine any other emotion which prompted this man to cast the body through the porthole except the emotion of fear? Cold fear. The fear of the murderer disposing of the body, which would give deadly evidence against him? Or the fear of the ravisher, whose advances have been rejected, disposing of the one witness who would give evidence against him?
Apart from the evidence of the ship's doctor, Dr. Griffiths, who'd seen the scratches on Cam's arm and neck when they were fresh, and who denied they could have been self-inflicted, the medical evidence the prosecution could bring forward was fairly inconclusive, though the prosecution made as much of it as they could. The stains Miss Field had noticed on the bed linen were examined by Dr. Tear, a pathologist and lecturer in forensic medicine. Dried urine was found, which suggested that Gay Gibson had died on the bed and not in the sea. But it didn't prove she'd been murdered. The foaming at the mouth? Well, saliva and specks of blood were found, and this was consistent with strangulation, but equally consistent with the idea of a heart attack. But what about this idea of a heart attack? Cam was surely clutching at straws and suggesting that a healthy, fit 21-year-old should suddenly die this way. From 1943 to 1947, Gay Gibson had done her national service in the ATS, the Women's Auxiliary Territorial Service. While she was with them, she got involved in show business, acting with Ensa and appearing in stars in battle dress. When she left the ATS, she was examined by a doctor, Ruth Haslam.
On 19 February 1947, I apparently examined number W315227, Private Eileen Isabella Ronnie Gibson.
Was there anything the matter with her?
According to the form I signed at the time, the only thing I found wrong with her was an old infection of the right ear. It had last discharged 3 weeks before. Her hearing was impaired. She had had a recent cold, but her general physical condition was good. I put her down as A1 non-tropical.
Dr. Haslam's opinion was confirmed by the next witness, Mrs. Eileen Victoria Gibson.
You are the mother of Eileen Gibson.
Yes, I am. I'm very proud to be the mother of Eileen Gibson.
Generally speaking, how was her health?
Excellent. She was one of the finest types of English womanhood, physically, mentally, morally.
You took her with you to South Africa, where your husband was?
Yes.
She took part in 2 theatrical productions there?
Yes. The Silver Cord and The Golden Boy.
During her time in South Africa, did you see any traces of ill health in her?
None whatever. Her health was excellent.
Under cross-examination, she did admit that Eileen, or according to her stage name, Gay, had been rather susceptible to colds and catarrh, but it hardly seemed very drastic. All in all, the bereaved mother, with her touching affection for her dead daughter and loyalty to her memory, made an impressive witness for the Crown. The various policemen and stewards and merchant marine officers also gave valuable evidence for the prosecution's case. Yet the witness who probably proved most valuable to the prosecution was one called by the defence, the prisoner himself, James Cam. In the witness box, he managed to appear callous and far too self-contained for one who claimed he'd panicked, and yet at the same time he was muddled as to his facts. A liar, but a poor liar. In cross-examination, Roberts made the most of these faults.
Would you describe yourself as a truthful man?
I think so.
You put Miss Gibson through the porthole at 3 o'clock on the morning of the 18th of October.
Yes.
Did you not, for the next 8 days, make untrue statements with regard to that?
I did that, yes.
So what caused you to depart from the truth?
The predicament I found myself in. I was thinking only of myself.
Self-preservation, in fact. Why did you alter your story as a truthful man?
I realised I was definitely incriminated by the witness, Steer.
You told an untrue story until you felt it would not serve its purpose of saving you. Now, don't you call that curious conduct for a truthful person?
I should say it was beastly conduct.
Indeed. Now, those 2 bells in the cabin, who rang those bells?
I don't know.
What would you expect a passenger to do who in the night objected to the advances of a member of the crew?
Shout.
Not much good shouting. Isn't ringing the bells better?
We both amount to the same thing.
That is what she did, is it not?
She didn't touch the bell.
Are you suggesting the bells went off of their own accord?
I cannot suggest how the bells were rung.
And when the man came to the door, you slammed it in his face, even though, according to one of your stories, you thought the girl might be alive.
Yes.
Even though you took no steps to help her, though help was at hand.
No.
The trial took 4 days. Mr. Justice Hilbery summed up. He stressed the faults of Cam's character, the strength of the evidence against him, the scratches, the bells in particular, the health of Gay or Eileen Gibson, but above all, James Cam and his lies. It took the jury just 45 minutes to find Cam guilty. But Cam refused to admit his guilt, and the defence appealed, on the grounds that the judge's summing up was biased. They said he was unfair to the evidence brought by the defence. Eventually, the case did go to the appeal court. So what was it that they said the judge had overlooked? Who were the defence witnesses Mr. Justice Hilbery had apparently disregarded? One was Joan Armour, an ATS officer.
In early July 1946, I was notified one of the girls was ill in quarters. I went there and found Private Gibson. She was lying on her bed. Her back was arched and she was breathing very, very heavily. I went to help her, and as I helped her, she clutched herself at the chest and muttered pain. The condition lasted 10 to 15 minutes. It was very bad. When I thought I could safely leave her, I called an ambulance.
Not unlike Cam's description of what had happened. The next witness was Peter Dalby, who, as a member of ENSA, had toured England and Germany with Gay Gibson. He described her as excitable and neurotic, and told of several fits similar to those described by Joan Armour. Mrs. Gibson had said that her daughter was more interested in her career than men, except for one man. Mr. Cresswell asked Dalby about that one man.
Mrs. Gibson has told us her daughter was very fond of a man called Pierre.
That's right. He was a lorry driver, one of the scenery vehicles. They were infatuated with each other.
Did she have a burn on her hand?
The back of her hand. I'm not sure whether it was the left or the right. She has it as some sort of recognition of the driver, Pierre. But I'm not quite sure whether she or Pierre did it.
A somewhat different picture begins to emerge from that of Mrs. Gibson's healthy, best type of English womanhood. It's probable that Mrs. Gibson simply didn't know her daughter very well. The Gibsons worked and lived abroad. Their daughter was educated and did her national service in England. Mrs. Gibson disapproved of her theatrical career and her theatrical friends, as came out in Mr. Cresswell's cross-examination.
At Johannesburg, was she in a play produced by Mr. Gilbert?
Mr. Gilbert ran a little show in imitation of Tommy Handley at Broadcasting House, Johannesburg. She met him there.
They were a different class of people from us.
Mr. Gilbert and his associates were a different class.
Yes. I advised her to take a refresher course in shorthand instead.
But she was in a play produced by Mr. Gilbert.
Yes, the only play he ever produced.
You don't seem very friendly to Mr. Gilbert.
No. Eileen said to me, Mother, Henry has turned out to be a rotter. On stage he had to put his arm round her. She said, the way he mauls me on stage.
And there was a Dr. Shube, his wife. She befriended your daughter, did she not?
Never.
Did you know your daughter went to Dr. Shube for advice?
My daughter would go to a consultant for advice, not to Dr. Shube. She said she's a bit of a quack.
Did she tell you about a man called Mike Abel?
Yes, he had to play a gangster on stage. She said to me, Mother, I think he is a real gangster.
These were the three witnesses the defence had brought over from South Africa. Henry Gilbert, his wife, Dr. Shube, and Mike Abel.
Mr. Abel, did Miss Gibson tell you anything about herself?
Well, she told me she came to South Africa for her health and that her parents were killed by a V2 bomb.
Her health?
Asthma, she said she had.
Where were you when she told you these things?
In a car outside the Doll's House. It's a sort of roadhouse.
Did anything happen while you were sitting there?
Yes, the late Miss Gibson seemed to lurch over. I noticed that in the corner of her mouth was white saliva.
Did you notice anything about her lips?
They were a bluish colour. I got a glass of water. The attack lasted 15 or 20 minutes.
Did you notice anything at rehearsals about her?
She was a charming girl, a very nice girl. But on occasions, for no rhyme or reason, she came up to me, kicked me, slapped my face, and then kissed me. One time at Mr. Gilbert's house, she'd been drinking quite a bit, she fainted in the garden.
Did she ever mention anything about her private affairs?
Once, she asked me for £200 to get to England. She said she was pregnant. Well, I could not afford £200. That was very early after I met her. On another occasion, she caught my arm and said, Mike, I love you. Then she fainted away, like I described before.
Henry Gilbert's evidence endorsed what Mike Abel had said and went into some detail about his professional relationship with Gay Gibson. But the evidence of his wife, Dr. Shube, was a good deal more personal.
Did you do exercises with Miss Gibson on any occasion?
She asked me for advice on diet and exercises. I took her along to a physical culture course I was taking.
Did you notice anything about her during the exercises?
I noticed that she tired easily, became short of breath, and had to discontinue while I carried on. She told me she was suffering from asthma.
Did she tell you anything about herself of an intimate nature?
She told me she had had sexual experience. This was about the second time I'd met her. She said her period had not arrived and that she was worried that she was pregnant. I told her it was much too early to say. She was probably worried or excited about the show.
Did you have any discussion about a contraceptive?
When she told me about her period, I asked her if she had used a contraceptive during sexual experience. She looked blankly at me. She didn't seem to know anything about it. I advised her to have a device fitted.
Such a contraceptive was found in Miss Gibson's cabin. Naturally, since her sexual inexperience had become an important part of the prosecution's case, Mr. Roberts attacked the South African witnesses. And Mike Abel, with his dark glasses, leather gloves and tightly belted Macintosh, did look a bit of a gangster. On the other hand, why should these people lie to defend a man they'd never met? They all liked Gay, although they found her a bit naive, and the behaviour that they and other defence witnesses describe does seem credible. A middle-class girl from a sheltered background suddenly given her freedom. She falls passionately for a lorry driver, tells a man like Abel she loves him, and might well be attracted by a coarse, handsome man like James Cam. The evidence of the stewardess, Miss Field, and the steward, James Murray, suggested she was indeed on friendly terms with Mr. Cam. In addition, the boatswain's mate gave evidence that he saw her at 1 o'clock on the fatal night on the promenade deck, exactly where James Cam was likely to be. And the fact Cam was seen inside her cabin suggests she unbolted the door to him. Even so, what happened inside the cabin? In the trial, no less than 7 doctors were called as witnesses. Much the most distinguished was Professor Webster.
There is nothing in Cam's account inconsistent with my own experience with regard to the 3 deaths I have investigated of people who died in the course of sexual intercourse.
How might Miss Gibson's death have occurred by natural cause?
In several ways, all of which give rise to blood in the mouth, the terminal discharge of urine, and the scratching of the arm. But indirect heart disease is most common among younger people, namely the effect of a septic focus elsewhere in the body. And in this case, there was a septic focus, the chronic running ear.
The professor's evidence was all the stronger because originally it had been requested by the prosecution. He said there was no evidence of rape or any violence, that Gay Gibson might well have had asthma, which made a heart attack more likely, and that the scratches on Cam's arm seemed to him to be too far up to have been inflicted by someone struggling for their life against a strangler. When the judge pressed as to whether the forensic evidence might have suggested strangulation, all Professor Webster would say is that he could not exclude that possibility. This, then, was the body of evidence that Mr. Justice Hilbery chose to dismiss, and which led to the appeal. The appeal failed. Cam again was found guilty. Cam may well have murdered Miss Gibson in cabin 126, but in English law, murder has to be proved beyond reasonable doubt. Perhaps it's just as well that by a pure fluke, Cam escaped the gallows. It happened that when he was condemned, the abolition of hanging was under debate in Parliament, and though the bill failed, the Home Secretary ruled that anyone condemned during the debate should not die. James Cam was given life imprisonment. He was released after 11 years in 1959.
In Cabin 126, Graham Blockey played James Cam. Other parts were played by Timothy Bateson, Timothy Carlton, Tara Dominic, James Green, Ian Lindsay, Petra Markham, and Mark Straker. Murder Most Foul is written by John Scotney and presented by Nick Ross. The producer was Tim Souter.
Cold fear. The fear of the murderer disposing of the body, which would give deadly evidence against...
I laid the carpet in the backyard and threw about 20 or 30 buckets of water on it to try to wash the blood off. And the colour of the water that came off was like blood.
Next thing I remember was something scratching and pulling at my mouth. I opened my eyes, and Jean was lying there under me, and I had my hands around her throat.
Murder Most Foul. 6 classic murder cases presented by Nick Ross. Case 1. The Surgeon's Knife.
Members of the jury, on the 29th of September 1935, Miss Susan Johnston was walking along the Moffat-Edinburgh Road near Gardenholme Lynn Bridge. As she was crossing the bridge, she did what many people do. She looked down into the gully below and saw what she thought was an arm lying in the bed of the stream. She went back to the hotel. There she saw her brother, and as a result of what she said to him, the brother went down to the water's edge and saw a forearm and head which were wrapped, or partly wrapped, in newspaper.
That was how Mr. Justice Singleton began his summing up at the Manchester Assizes on Friday, the 13th of March, 1935. The jury had to concern itself with bits and pieces of human bodies. And so shall we, because this was one of the first cases in which scientific and medical evidence was to play a central part. Subsequent searches by the police discovered well over 50 portions of body, or rather bodies. A second head was found. The grisly job of reassembling these human jigsaws was carried out by a team led by Professor John Glaister, the Regius Professor of Forensic Medicine at Glasgow University.
Exhibit 135 contains photographs of what are termed head number 1. It can be seen that the eyes have been removed, some facial skin, the tissues of the nose. You will also notice the removal of 2 central teeth. Exhibit 139 shows the head of body number 2. The tissue was removed to a greater extent than in number 1. As in the other body, the eyes had been removed, the skin of the face, the soft tissues of the nose. Also, both ears, nearly all the scalp tissues bearing hair, the lips, and a portion of the tongue had been...
And so it went on. The prosecution would describe the bodies as having been horribly mutilated. But there was more to it than that. And if they could indeed be said to have been mutilated, well, the mutilation had been done by an expert. For instance, they hadn't been crudely chopped up, but disarticulated. That is to say, surgically severed at suitable joints.
Professor Glaister, this disarticulation, would this require any surgical skill?
Indeed it would, my lord, and definite anatomical knowledge.
What kind of knife would be required?
Probably a Symes amputation knife and an ordinary scalpel. In the case of body number 2, about 5 hours would be needed to complete the work.
And how long had the bodies been in the river? Some of the pieces of flesh were wrapped in a torn sheet, others in a blouse. One of the heads was in a child's romper suit. But other remains were found wrapped in newspapers. These were of various dates from early August onwards. The most recent was the Sunday Graphic of September the 15th, just a fortnight prior to their discovery. Scotland Yard's Black Museum still holds copies of the fragments of that Sunday Graphic. There's part of the front page, numbered and dated September the 15th, 1935. It seems the great attraction was Lady Londonderry's frank memoirs. One of the other scraps is torn from an inside page. There's half a photograph of a line of young women, and what's left of the headline, which reads AMBE''S, Carnival Queen Crowned. That headline was to save the police months of sifting through files of missing persons. To return to the trial.
I am Edwin Vaughan Morris. I'm circulation manager of the Sunday Graphic and News newspaper. The sections of newspaper shown to me are from a special slip or local edition of the Sunday Graphic of the 15th of September 1935, of which 3,700 copies were printed. They were circulated only in Morecambe, Lancaster and the immediate vicinity, and they contain photographs of the crowning of Morecambe's Carnival Queen.
At once, the investigation shifted to Morecambe, the seaside resort, and the nearby ancient town of Lancaster, which in 1935 had 40,000 inhabitants. Among them was an Indian doctor, probably the only Indian doctor in Lancaster at that time. He lived in a dour, 3-storey, respectable, stone-fronted house at number 2 Dalton Square. He was, by all accounts, an able general practitioner and popular with his patients. But recently, the doctor, whose name was Buck Ruxton, had been behaving rather strangely, as reported by a detective called John Thomas Moffat.
I'm a detective inspector in the Lancashire County Constabulary stationed at Blackburn. On September the 24th, I was in the Lancaster police office investigating the death of the Mrs. Smalley. One of those I interviewed was Mrs. Kerwin, who works part-time for Dr. Ruxton. Between 3 and 4 in the afternoon, Dr. Ruxton himself came to the police station, though I had not requested to see him.
Look here, Inspector Moffat. What the hell do the police want making inquiries about my private affairs for? I do not know Mrs. Smalley. I have enough trouble on my mind. Come across and search my house and interview the whole damn lot of us. It is nothing but professional jealousy. I am the most progressive doctor in this town. I have over 2,000 patients on my panel, and every doctor is jealous
At that point, he held up his hand. His little finger was heavily bandaged, and the bandage twisted round his hand at the same time.
Look at my finger. I cut that and almost severed it with a fruit tin I was opening for my children last week. I'm the most miserable man on earth. My wife leaves me. Now you come bothering me. I come home from visiting my patients a fortnight ago. I go to my study and call her name. No answer. I go to her room. I find a note. It says, I am going away, don't worry. Leaves me with 3 kids crying for their mother, and I do not know where she is. I know nothing about Mrs. Smalley. It is professional jealousy. And you will hear more about it.
Nobody had ever imagined him to be involved in Mrs. Smalley's death. But it was true, Dr. Ruxton's wife had disappeared. Except that she wasn't his wife, they were never married. And it wasn't a fortnight before, but only a week ago, the day Dr. Ruxton had cut his hand, September the 15th. And on the same day, their maidservant, Mary Rogerson, had also disappeared. She was 20. She always visited her father and her stepmother in Morecambe every weekend. On October the 1st, when she'd failed to visit them for 3 weekends running, they informed the police.
My name is Agnes Oxley, and I'm employed as charwoman at the Ruxtons. It was some time after the 2 women had disappeared that the doctor, who was in bed, called me to his bedside. He asked me to sit down, and he read out an account of the Ravine murder in the Daily Express. He said, "So you see, Mrs. Oxley, it is a man and a woman. It's not our 2. I replied that I hope not. He then began to laugh.
On the 11th of October, Dr. Ruxton finally went to see Captain Van, the Chief Constable of Lancaster, to report his wife missing. Later, he returned with a copy of the Daily Express, which had continued covering the story, and he even mentioned the missing Mary Rogerson.
Look here, my dear Van. Can't you do something about these newspaper reports? Look at this. This newspaper says that this woman has a full set of teeth in the lower jaw, and I know to my own knowledge that Mary Rogerson had at least 4 teeth missing in this jaw.
He'd been calm till then, my lord, but now he became excited. He waved his arms about, he sat on the table with his feet on the chair, and he began to bang on the chair in a very violent manner. His conduct was very extraordinary.
It is all the fault of that damned Bobby Edmondson. Captain Van, he is ruining my home. He's having an affair with my Belle, my wife. I know it.
He came to see me next day at 9:30 in the evening. He remained at the police station overnight and, at my request, wrote out an account of his movements from the 14th to the 30th of September. He also made and signed a voluntary statement, which he dictated and afterwards corrected and initialed.
The statement is true, to the best of my recollection at the present moment. I have nothing further to add. At the present moment. There, my dear Van, it is signed.
Good. Now listen very carefully to me. I intend to prefer a very serious charge against you. You are charged that between the 14th and 29th of September 1935, you did feloniously and with malice aforethought kill and murder one Mary Jane Rogerson.
What?
I must caution you that anything
Sir,
you say...
most emphatically not. Of course not.
Dr. Ruxton.
The furthest thing from my mind. What are you talking about?
Dr. Ruxton, I must caution you that anything you say...
It was not until November the 5th, 1935, that he was charged with the murder of Mrs. Ruxton. And it was for this crime, not the murder of Mary Rogerson, that he was brought to trial 5 months later.
How say you, Buck Ruxton? Are you guilty or not guilty?
I plead not guilty.
The jury was sworn in and had their first sight of the prisoner. He was then aged 36. He was a handsome man, born in Bombay, of good family. Details of his background would come out when he was questioned by his own counsel, the distinguished K.C. Norman Burkitt.
You are a doctor of medicine, a bachelor of medicine. I hold first-class honours in medicine from Bombay University. I studied in London, but I did not qualify there finally.
Do you hold any other degrees?
Yes, Bachelor of Surgery, also at the University of Bombay.
Silence in court.
Did you have any medical experience before your medical practice in Lancaster in 1930?
If I may modestly say, considerable.
In the year 1928, you were in Edinburgh pursuing your medical studies at the university.
Yes.
Was it at that time you first met Mrs. Ruxton?
Yes.
Isabella Carr was her maiden name, was it not?
If you want to be precise, Kerr, not Carr.
Mm-hmm. Her name being, as I understand it, Isabella Van Ness.
She married a Dutchman. The marriage only lasted a few months. I knew her as Isabella Carr.
In 1930, you went to Lancaster, having bought a practice there.
Yes.
And she went with you to 2 Dalton Square.
Yes.
That is where you lived together and subsequently had the children.
Yes, but I had one child born before, Elizabeth. Diane and Billy were born at 2 Dalton Square.
What would you say about your relations with Mrs. Ruxton, in general, during the years from 1930 to 1935?
If I may be permitted to put it in appropriate English, we were the kind of people who could not live with each other and could not live without each other.
Of all the words spoken during the 11 days of the trial, these were the ones most remembered. We couldn't live with each other, and we couldn't live without each other. Ruxton himself was the only witness called by the defence. And before he had a chance to speak, the prosecution would have called no less than 106 witnesses. Several servants and ex-servants testified that they'd witnessed violence between Ruxton and Isabella. He denied this, describing what they'd seen as love play. But he couldn't deny that she had once appealed for help from the police and had fled to her sisters in Scotland. Robert Edmondson was called, the man whom Ruxton accused of having an affair with his wife. He didn't seem the type, somehow. Nonetheless, Dr. Ruxton was known to be a jealous man in these matters. Mr. Jackson, the prosecutor, also called a number of witnesses to give evidence about Ruxton's behaviour on September the 15th and the days that followed, including Mrs. Oxley, the Ruxton's charlady.
According to your duties, you should have gone to the doctor's house on the morning of September the 15th.
Yes, I intended to go, but Dr. Ruxton came to my house at 6:30. My husband went down and I stood on the stairs. Dr. Ruxton said, "Tell Mrs. Oxley not to bother to come this morning, as Mrs. Ruxton and Mary have gone to Edinburgh and I'm taking the children to Morecambe."
But you went there at your usual time on the Monday.
Yes, but I could get no reply. I returned at about 9:15 and rang again. Dr. Ruxton then arrived in his car. He had no collar and tie on and had not had a shave. His hand was bandaged. I asked him about it.
What did he say?
He said he had cut it on a tin opener and had lost gallons and gallons of blood.
Many witnesses mentioned this cut hand, which Ruxton attributed to the accident opening a tin of peaches. But in the period after his arrest, it was examined by another doctor, another prosecution witness, Dr. Shannon.
I am a registered medical practitioner and am the medical officer at HM Prison at Strangeways.
Dr. Shannon, in your opinion, how was the wound on Dr. Ruxton's hand caused?
In my opinion, it was caused by some very sharp instrument which slipped and passed through the hand, and the severity of the 2 lower cuts probably caused the release of the grip.
So the knife, or instrument, slipped in some way? You know a surgeon's cutting knife, Doctor, a Symes knife.
Yes.
If anyone is cutting up a body, are there any difficulties in regard to the knife?
Oh, yes, there are several. The blood can make the handle very slippery, for instance.
I see. I have here a tin opener of the sort described by the prisoner. Could this have caused the wounds on the hand?
Certainly not.
There was other, more ingenious medical evidence to come from Professor Glaister and his team. Mr. Jackson set great store by proving that the remains discovered in the river were indeed those of the missing Isabella Ruxton and Mary Rogerson. To have reassembled the bodies, or what was left of them, called for great skill. But even then, how to identify them when they'd been so badly mutilated? In his opening speech, Mr. Jackson argued that the very nature of the mutilations helped to identify the bodies.
Let us first consider body number 1, the younger woman. Mary Rogerson had what is commonly called a glide, a form of squint, in one eye. The eyes had been removed. She had certain teeth drawn by a dentist, a fact which could have been identified by that dentist. More extractions had been made, and these had been made about the time of her death. She had 4 vaccination marks on her left arm, rather than the usual 3. A piece of skin with 4 vaccination marks was found. She had a very bad birthmark on her right arm, a very noticeable mark. The flesh on that forearm...
And so it went on. Naturally, Norman Burkitt, for the defence, would argue that since Ruxton was on trial for the murder of Mrs. Ruxton, evidence about her maid was quite irrelevant. But as the two women had lived in the same house, disappeared on the same day, and their bodies were mingled in the same gruesome bundles, Mr. Justice Singleton considered such evidence was acceptable.
Now, with regard to the other body, which we say is that of Mrs. Ruxton, in strangulation, certain portions of the body become discoloured. The whites of the eyes, for instance. The eyes were removed. The ears would show discoloration. They were cut off. The lips, too, they were also cut off.
Mrs. Ruxton had very thick ankles. Mrs. Oxley said her legs were the same thickness from her knees downwards. She also had humped toes. The flesh of the lower leg and the toes were missing from this body, as were the ends of the fingers, and Mrs. Ruxton had very distinctly manicured fingernails. The most spectacular positive evidence for identification of the body came from Professor Glaister's colleague, Professor Brash. He superimposed a photograph of skull number 2 onto a photograph of Isabella Ruxton. It's a ghostly, striking picture, making real T.S. Eliot's line about being able to see the skull beneath the skin. The two most certainly seemed to fit, and yet neither professor was prepared to state categorically that these were the bodies of the two missing women. And in English law, if there is reasonable doubt, the prisoner has to be given the benefit of it, as Norman Burkitt was to point out to the jury.
The true verdict, according to the evidence, must always bear in mind the golden rule. The case must be proved, and proved beyond all reasonable doubt. The decision you have to make, members of the jury, is irrevocable. If you have any doubt, if there is an avenue, let the prisoner walk down it to freedom.
The prosecution made much of the definite identification of the bodies. It was a key point in Mr. Jackson's speech for the Crown. But did this identification prove Buck Ruxton guilty? That was a question Norman Burkitt seized upon.
Members of the jury, I was astonished to hear my learned friend Mr. Jackson say to you that if you were satisfied that the bodies found in the ravine were those of Mrs. Ruxton and Mary Rogerson, then your task was nigh completed. No. Even if you are thus satisfied, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it does not prove the case. If 4 simple words of the prisoner are true, they left my house, then as far as he is concerned, there is an end to it, whatever may have happened to the 2 unfortunate women later. The Crown must prove the fact of murder and satisfy you that they died by the hand of the prisoner.
In other words, just because the bodies were those of Mrs. Ruxton and her maid, it didn't mean Dr. Ruxton had killed them. They could have set off to Edinburgh, as he said, and been murdered on the way by person or persons unknown. It was proved that a Sunday graphic had been delivered to the Ruxtons' house that Sunday, but what would have been more natural than that Mrs. Ruxton should have taken the newspaper with her? It was proved that the blouse in which some of the remains were found had belonged to Mary, but might she not have been wearing it? But what about the children's rompers, in which one of the heads had been found? Mr. Justice Singleton made much of these. He even waved them at the jury during his summing up.
Mary Rogerson might have taken the blouse with her, but what about these rompers? Is there the slightest doubt about these rompers? If Mrs. Ruxton and Mary Rogerson went away without the children, would they take these rompers?
They certainly seemed an unlikely thing to take when you're fleeing from your family. But perhaps the most damning evidence of all was the blood. There was no way of proving it came from the 2 murdered women, but there was an awful lot of it lying about at 2 Dalton Square. On the afternoon of Sunday the 15th, Buck Ruxton had asked one of his patients to come and help clear up, a Mrs. Hampshire. He was expecting the decorators, he said, and as he'd cut his hand, he couldn't do it himself. When she arrived, she found the carpets taken up.
You went into the yard, Mrs. Hampshire. What did you see there?
Several carpets. 2 landing carpets, the rest were stair carpets.
Was there anything about those carpets?
They were stained. One in particular was heavily stained with blood.
Was there anything else in the yard?
A blood-stained shirt and some badly stained towels.
Had anything else happened to the towels?
They had been half burned. There was also an empty packet of Lux thrown down at the bottom of the stairs.
I believe the doctor then went out.
Yes. He returned later with Elizabeth and Diane. He said he had come to fetch the children's night dresses as they were going to stay with Mrs. Anderson. He went upstairs while I did the washing up in the kitchen.
When the doctor came downstairs, did he invite you anywhere?
Yes, into the waiting room.
What did he say there?
He said that if the carpets and the suit were of any use to us, we could have them. He said that the suit was badly stained, but that it was a good suit and I could have it cleaned. It was badly stained with blood. He said he had worn it that morning when he had cut his finger.
In Professor Glaister's report on the jacket and trousers, he lists 27 bloodstains, many of them between 8 inches and a foot long and 3 or 4 inches wide. And all, so Dr. Ruxton asserted, from a cut finger. The waistcoat was so badly bloodstained that Mrs. Hampshire had burned it. Next morning, while Mrs. Oxley had knocked in vain at his door, Dr. Ruxley was visiting Mrs. Hampshire, looking, as Mrs. Oxley said, unshaven and dishevelled. He'd offered to take the suit back to have it cleaned, but Mrs. Hampshire said she'd do it. After he left, she opened the bundle of carpets.
One was not so bad, and one had just 1 blood mark on it, but the amount of blood on the 3rd carpet was terrible. It was still damp with it. I laid the carpet in the backyard and threw about 20 or 30 buckets of water on it to try to wash the blood off, and the colour of the water that came off was like blood. I threw it on the line and left it to dry, and when it was wash day, I had another go, and I still couldn't get the congealed blood off.
Still all from 1 cut finger. Other prosecution witnesses gave evidence about the blood at 2 Dalton Square, among them Mrs. Oxley and Professor John Glaister. 2 girls told of late-night bonfires. And when all 106 of Mr. Jackson's prosecution witnesses had had their say, Norman Burkitt, sole witness for the defence, took his stand, Dr. Ruxton, who made a pathetic and hardly impressive figure. The report on the trial frequently includes the comment, in brackets, prisoner burst into tears. It happened several times when Norman Burkitt was questioning him about Mrs. Hampshire's evidence.
Mrs. Hampshire has said that you called at her house about 9 o'clock on Monday morning.
Yes, I heard her say that, without a collar and tie.
Were you at Mrs. Hampshire's house on that Monday morning?
Never. Never in my life. I have never gone from my house in all my life without a tie and collar. Never in my life.
She said you were without a tie and collar, and that you were wearing an old, dirty raincoat.
That is ridiculous, if I may say. I am so fastidious about my looks, especially as 40,000 people in Lancaster know me. And could anyone imagine on that busy Monday morning I would allow them to see Dr. Ruxton at 9 o'clock in the morning without a collar and tie? Never in my life. And in a dirty raincoat. It is a lie.
Mrs. Hampshire says you inquired about the blue suit.
I was never at her house on Monday morning. I cannot stand these lies. This is all a pack of lies they are telling.
Please, try to keep control.
It is very hard to stand this pack of lies.
There were many other witnesses whom he accused of lying, including Mrs. Oxley. And there were many other occasions when he broke down in tears. Curiously, he stood up to the prosecution cross-examination rather better, though he had an unfortunate quirk, constantly addressing Mr. Jackson as my friend, which was anything but the case. Eventually, after 11 days, the speeches ended, the jury retired. They were out for scarcely over an hour.
Do you find Buck Ruxton guilty of murder or not guilty?
Guilty.
You find Buck Ruxton guilty of murder, and that is the verdict of you all?
Yes.
Buck Ruxton, you have been convicted of murder upon the verdict of the jury. Have you anything to say why sentence of death should not be passed according to law.
Subject to the point that I be allowed to appeal, in the administration of justice, I submit that to your lordship and the jury. I want to thank everybody for the patience and fairness of my trial.
The appeal failed, and he was hanged on the 12th of May, 1936. It said that although he was in a very agitated state for some time before his death, he went to the gallows calmly. At the time, the sentimental ballad Red Sails in the Sunset was immensely popular.
Red sails in the sunset, way out on the sea. Oh, carry my loved one home safely to me.
Street urchins developed their own version. Red stains on the carpet, red stains on your knife. Oh, Dr. Buck Ruxton, you cut up your wife. The nursemaid, she saw you and threatened to tell. So, Dr. Buck Ruxton, you killed her as well. And they were probably correct.
Oh, carry my loved one home safely to me.
In The Surgeon's Knife, Mark Zuber played Buck Ruxton and Anthony Bate played Norman Burkett. Other parts were played by Danielle Allen, Timothy Bateson, Timothy Carlton, Nigel Carrington, Fraser Carr, and Michael Turner. Murder Most Foul is written by John Scotney and presented by Nick Ross. The producer was Mark Savage.